to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Additions or corrections to the agenda? Not may I have approval of.
So moved.
Okay, motion been made by Gall. Is there a second that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Smith. Roll call. Gall.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Giver aye. Minutes. Any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented?
Move to approve.
Okay, motion been made by Bell. Is there a second that motion?
Second.
Second by Kaufman. Roll call. Bell.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Gall.
Aye.
Giver aye. Claims. Any questions on the claims? There are none. May I have
Claims.
approval? Okay, motion been made by Kaufman. Is there a second that motion?
Second.
Second by Gall. Roll call. Kaufman.
Aye.
Gall.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
And Giver aye. Okay, this morning we have two certificates of service to hand out. One is to Bobby Conrad for 10 years of service. Congratulations, Bobby.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Bobby.
Thank you.
And the other one is for Merlin Shocker, 15 years of service. I don't know which one's more out there at the landfill or our transportation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you for coming in. Okay, we have a handwritten warrant that we need to take care of for the visa for the sheriff's office. You already explained it, Bev, for meals for 3 days.
Well, it didn't get in the last claim because they had one individual that it looked like they went over on the meal. So then they clarified it with the jail administrator. By then, it was too late to get in our regular claim. So that's why, and it's due. It's got a due date on it. So.
Is this a county visa or is it?
Yeah.
Does anybody want to look at it?
I think at some point we're going to either have to pull cards or make sure they get that to us on time.
Okay, any more discussion on it? May I have approval of?
So moved.
Okay, the motion been made by Kaufman, second by Bell. Any more discussion? Roll call. Kaufman.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Gall.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Giver aye. The Stanway Drainage District, we'll go into that later. Secondary road proposed facility, Rob will have that later. Discussion decision regarding outreach meetings by the supervisors. I made out a schedule for everybody. Everybody's supposed to have a schedule right there. The first one is Dawn and I are for West Branch, and I think what we kind of discussed was like going to the council meetings, one meeting, and maybe have an open session the next one at the town. Brad and John are for Tipton. Bennett is Jeff and I. Loudon is Dawn and John. Clarence is Brad and Jeff. Mechanicsville, Dawn and Jeff. Durant's John and I. Stanwood is Brad and I. So each month, for that month, then there's a town on there, so we can find out. Then at the end of this, we'll decide if you want to continue or not. So, and whoever you're with, find out when you guys want to meet in those towns and set up a time. And Sue, would the paper put a little notice in the paper for us without charge?
Why do you ask me these?
You're the representative, aren't you, of the paper here? I'll check with Stu and see if we can put a little quip in there, when we're going to be at these different towns, so you have to let them know.
Actually, I think most of the local papers will do that as a community service thing.
So, but get together with the person you're with and then find out when you want to attend those towns at what time. So, anything else on the outreach meetings?
You want me to leave that on the top of your agenda or take it?
You can take it off.
Take it off.
The meetings and everything. Phone system. Carrie's going to bring that in at the budget time, or have you talked to her on it, John?
No.
Do you want any more discussion on the phone system?
I talked to Carrie about it. I think she's bringing it in.
Okay. Plumbing issues. Did Lynch come over here the other afternoon?
I talked to John the other day, and he did come over and took a look at it, had a couple different options. Then I talked to Wayne, I think it was later that day, if I remember right. Wayne would prefer we tear up the floor. The only issue with the floor is to get a floor to match it. That's going to be the difficulty. Didn't know whether that was feasible or not. The one that goes out is actually drain line for the roof, and so that's the one that John Barnum was talking about. So that one's not really feasible. We don't know how much is caved underneath there. We could move it over 3 feet and end up with the same issue. So that's
Because
why.
it's settling.
Well,
I mean, that's the issue. Is
that's what the issue is. So we don't know. That's why Wayne would like to just tear the floor up, because then you know what you have. So he was going to do a little more thinking about it and maybe come up with some sort of proposal for us. But
Which floor is it? He's talking from Julie's office?
you'd have to go Julie's office,
Front of the
the
steps.
back storeroom, hallway, probably almost to the
Restroom there?
almost to the restroom. So they can bore it, but once again, if you bore it through something that's void, it's not going to do any good.
So,
But he
leave that.
knows our time constraints as far as the budgetary constraints, and just trying to follow up on it. And John suggested we call him on a weekly basis to see where he's at with it. So I don't know whether we want to call him today or not, but he suggested that, so Wayne doesn't forget about it, keeps on top of things.
Okay. If we get some time, maybe later on we can give him a call. Courthouse office space. We've talked about merging the auditor and the treasurer, and moving the county attorney upstairs and all that. And there's been emails going back and forth between Paul and Melissa. So
The other thing is John Barnum did talk to me about some of the space upstairs. I don't know whether he understands the division of state versus county information, but he talked to me a little bit about storage areas and making that a little more efficient. And then he talked to me also about the assessor and how much of the assessor's office is not being used, and how there's possibility for some office space down there too. So that's another thing to look at.
what do you say about the space upstairs?
I didn't follow him on all of that, but on the north end, he didn't talk anything about that. It was all basically south and so forth.
He didn't talk anything about remodeling the storage space upstairs, just
No.
leaving that for storage up there?
He didn't say anything about that.
And maybe after the budget hearings, we can have John come in and kind of visit with us on it a little bit then some morning, so leave that on there. Facilities planning. I guess we kind of talked about that. Local option sales and service tax and organizational study. What's the board's wish? You want to put that on the ballot for this fall? Have Carrie get something going on that? Or you want to wait till after budget time to work on that? Or you want to wait till Rob comes in to find out what he proposes on the secondary road?
How about we wait till after we talk to those two, and then,
Okay.
I mean, we've got enough time
Yeah.
to do that. I think we need to hear what they have to say first.
Okay, the action on request by recorder for an additional deputy appointment. I think everybody got the email that read that it does not have to be a deputy to sign off on that. All she has to do is have the clerk sign a confidentiality agreement. And Paul talked to a treasurer or a recorder that has 15 years experience, so she can, if she wants somebody to sign off on it, all she has to do is have Jody sign a report, opinion on confidentiality. And Paul, I think, is sending her all his findings, so we waited on that, see what she says from there.
Did Paul only just talk to the one recorder, or did he talk to a couple?
That's the one he quoted on
Okay.
my email, it's the only one I know of, so.
We might wanna talk to one other one just to make sure that we got a little bit of a check and balance there. I'll give Paul a call on that.
Yeah, leave that on there first, because I'm sure she'll bring it up when she comes in for a budget. Take action on appointment to eminent domain commission under category of town property. Did you talk to your person?
I did, and he still has not got back to me. I tried to get ahold of him yesterday and he wasn't there. I will get somebody on there if he does. If I don't get a response from him this week, I will find another person to be on there.
Okay.
I was holding up on, you have to send the eminent domain people to the DOT, so I might just go ahead and do that. I was holding up thinking maybe you're not.
Yeah.
Maybe I better just send that on.
I would, and then he can just always add. I don't know if he's out of town or
Okay,
what.
leave that on there. Okay, Robert Press.
Thanks for letting me come in here for a little while this morning and get some things kind of clear in my mind and find out how some of this stuff come about. In regards to longer meetings, less meetings, more efficient and less expensive, according to Brad. Explain, Brad, how did you arrive at this?
When I was doing the employee recognition research, I was intrigued by some of the things going on with the supervisors, auditors' offices, and so I started doing a little research on the one-day-a-week meetings. Went to the ISAC website, and 87 out of 99 counties meet one day or less a week. That kind of caught my eye, so then I started contacting some supervisors. Jeff Madeline from Delaware County, asked him about it. He says it works beautiful. They save money, they're more efficient. Brian Smith, Clinton County, same thing. Bob Yoder, Washington County, same thing. And I'll just name a few that off the top of my head. Vicki Pope from Iowa County, same thing. The Vicki from, I don't know her, from Fayette. And same thing. And then the guy from Denton, I can't think of his name either. Talked to him, supervisor. Several supervisors, they all said the same thing. One day a week works very well. They all do some different things like what Jeff proposed, getting out into the communities, being more transparent, I guess is the word. And
how much do you actually figure, or did they actually figure they saved?
We don't know. We won't know until
Well,
depends on the minutes, depends on the mileage that a couple of them take.
These other counties, though, that had been on this one day a week meeting process, how much did they
Well, they
say
didn't
they
say,
saved?
but it's a substantial amount that they saved, because mainly the minutes. There's less minutes, and they mentioned the mileage.
What the mileage? That's not mileage to and from meetings.
To the board meetings, yes, if you want to claim them.
Really? Because I think the only one that we really got, well, Dawn, she drives quite a ways. I don't know whether you claim or not. And Jeff, I don't know how far it is in here for you. But everybody else is just 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, or 3, 4, 5.
I don't claim mileage.
See? So that part of it probably isn't a big savings for our county. Makes it sound like it is, but it really isn't a big deal. Would you say that's right?
I haven't figured that out, what the mileage is on that, but.
Well, mine is
adds up.
50 miles
Probably
round
1,000.
trip.
I would say it's over $1,000.
But because we went down to one day a week, I'm not claiming my mileage.
And what do you get paid? 51 cents?
It's
47 cents? Next thing that I wanted to ask was about the 99 counties and everything, and how you found that out, but I didn't realize you could go on the internet and find...
And I think of the 87 counties, I gotta think about this, the 87 counties, there's 12 that meet, I think, 2 days a month. Lynn County is a big county, they meet 3 days a week. Johnson 1 day a week, all the counties around us. And some have, I did call 20 counties, because John requested that about the assistant administrator. Of the 20 counties around us, 4 have assistant administrators. Clinton, I suppose Lynn does. I didn't check on Lynn, but 16 work with their auditor. And
So those assistants are not just for the supervisors, they're county assistants or a department assistant.
No. Lynn does not have anymore. When Lynn County went to 5, their assistant left and went to another department.
yeah, I don't know about
When
Lynn.
he was an assistant, he was a full-time assistant. He was paid $84,000 a year.
And he sits anywhere in the,
No,
within the
just
county
supervisor.
that's needed?
He did just the
Board of
supervisor stuff.
Supervisors.
Just the board of supervisors.
It's management.
So if we had an assistant, that'd do away with Bev's job, or that would be Bev's job.
She works out of the auditor's office, which of the 20 that I called, 16 use the auditor's office to set the meetings up, the minutes and everything like that.
Actually, those that have administrators are typically an additional employee to what Bev's job would be.
Oh,
And
okay.
some of them share that administrator between other departments.
That would make sense.
Most of them are in large counties, though.
Sure.
Like Johnson, Scott.
Scott.
In regards to the salary and going down to 1 day a week, this is 1 day a week, just roughly 26,000. You put in your all your health benefits, your IPERS, all the vacation that you can work in.
Don't get paid for vacation, you just get a regular salary.
Pardon me?
We don't get paid for the vacation, we just get the salary all year round.
Oh, okay, so there's no vacation.
Well, you take
No
vacation,
paid
but
vacation.
No paid vacation.
That's what he's saying.
But it's, in a sense, it's paid vacation because you're not, how do I want to say this? You're not deducting it from salary. I mean, is that considered part of your 1 day a week benefit for the year? I mean, or how do you figure? You're saying that you don't get any paid vacation. Actually, it's paid.
well, yeah, you could say, we get so much salary a year, all the elected officials get so much salary a year. They don't have to be in the office 365 days a year.
They don't have to be.
No, they do not.
It was
So
kinda-
many, I think by code, there's so many meetings they have to attend, the supervisors have to attend a year.
We only have 6 meetings a year.
10?
6.
6? You only have to attend 6?
Yep.
Boy, that makes this a pretty good gig.
Well,
Yep.
then Bob, you gotta realize, like John, he has to serve on my commissions, and any time I need him, he has to come in and out.
Yeah.
He doesn't get paid for any of that.
Yeah, I do.
Well,
And you talk about the salaries of the 20 counties that I called were the lowest of the 20 counties around us, not including Johnson, Lynn, but counties similar to our size.
Okay. How much do you actually think that you're going to save by doing this 1 day a week?
We don't know. It all depends on how long our meetings are and how many minutes.
Well, you had to have some idea
I would say
as
thousands.
to.
That's my take.
Bob, it's gonna be hard to, like, for instance, we did this down at the college when we reduced a particular thing, it's a long time ago, but the hard part is quantifying, like, for instance, when Bev is not in here, how do you quantify what she's doing in the auditor? Probably Carrie would, if we wanna quantify that, Carrie would have to quantify the redirection of her time instead of in here for well, like today, she's gonna be in here for 8 hours.
Mhm.
Or 7 hours. Quantifying that of what she's doing in there.
And what she's
it's
not gonna be doing,
Or what she's not gonna be doing, or what she would be doing if it was there. That's gonna be a little tricky, but I suppose
Yeah.
there's a way to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's gonna be much, and the reason I say that is basically the meetings are a certain length. And whether you do 8 hours on one day and 4 hours and 4 hours on 2 other days, I don't think there's gonna be much difference. I don't think the quantity of the minutes is gonna be much different. I don't think you're gonna see much change in that. The only thing that could possibly be a savings is on on mileage.
Mhm.
And I don't think we're gonna see that because of the way, and if you look at the amount of money we spend on mileage for session miles, it's fairly minimal here.
Yeah, see, and this is something, and I have to agree with you on that, but that mileage deal, there's a lot of things that we as taxpayers don't see because they don't come out in the minutes, and we don't understand where that's coming from. So that, that was one of my questions. I just want to kind of get it clarified in my mind, because I can't see where that's going to save a lot of time,
I'm gonna suggest
a lot
we
of
track
money.
the minutes for the next 6 months, or the expenses, or what we're gonna spend, and we'll find out.
On what? On all the expenses?
On going to 1 day a week, yes.
I don't know how you're gonna do that, cause you can't compare apples to apples when you have a single meeting versus 2 meetings. I don't know how you're gonna do that unless you have the exact same time, exact same content and so forth. It's gonna be difficult to track.
Yeah, I have to agree that. That's why I thought that this whole thing was kind of senseless.
Well, the thing of it is, Bob, some of these meetings that we've had lately have only lasted like an hour.
Yeah.
There hasn't been anything going on.
Well, and
So
isn't there?
why come to the meeting and you're not gonna have anything going on? We tried the night meetings.
Yeah,
There's nothing going on.
No, nobody
You know?
come to those. And,
So
was
we're trying
worth
to
a
be
try,
more
though.
efficient is what we're trying to do also,
and just put it all into one day.
Right,
And
yeah.
I think the night meetings didn't work out, but I think it's worth a try to open up access.
Mhm.
Same thing with this. I mean, this is I don't know if you got a chance to see this.
Yeah, I did.
And I don't know if maybe they won't come, I don't know, but I'll tell you, I think it's worth the try to go out to the community.
Yeah. That might work out a little better than
We'll
doing
see.
the night meetings. You'll see.
Don't know.
You're going to have to somehow get this in the paper, get it out to the public so they know. And this is mainly going to be council meetings, and then if you just happen to set up a special meeting for you got 2 of you to be there,
I think
and
we talked council meetings and we talked like a
Both.
town hall meeting. So
Okay.
that, like, if people wanna just come and visit with us one-on-one, they can do that also if they're not comfortable coming
Yeah,
up
I
here.
know.
But because we only have 2 people there, no action can be taken.
yeah,
So that's why you see 2 going at a time.
yeah. Okay, that's. I hope this works because the night meeting sure didn't draw any extra people in. I had a couple other points here that I was gonna bring up, but I have kind of since talking with you guys or you folks that I'm gonna kind of forego because they were kind of harsh thoughts because I didn't actually know what was going on. Another thing that I did, I heard down at the restaurant, and I just happened to be down there for breakfast with Renita and I hope that the board is thinks long and hard about not selling the county farm and putting that money towards building our maintenance building. It to me that doesn't make a lot of sense. Our county farm is going to brings us in $500 an acre or so I've heard, and I don't know exactly how many acres are there, but that is an ongoing income year after year after year. And if we sell that and put that money towards our maintenance facility, that income is gone for good, and in my feelings, all we've got to show for it is a building for maintenance. I would think that maybe it might make a little more sense to do some kind of a bond issue or something if we're going to do that, and pay for that over a longer period of time, and you could use some of the income money from the farm towards that. I don't know where this money that we get from the farm goes, but
General fund.
in the fund, yeah. So that would make that'd make a little more sense to me. And this agenda here for a whole day, I presume that most of this is going to be just for 3 or 4 meetings because of budget. I mean, you're not going to plan on having a whole. I wouldn't know. Like you said, we couldn't come up with enough for an hour meeting for one. So how are we going to do it for 2? So I figured when I saw this that it was mainly for budget. All right, folks. Thanks very much.
Bob, if you hear other people have opinions on that farm, I wish they would tell us and let us know, because I'm struggling with that right now, and I'd like to hear what other people think, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. I don't know whether it would help to maybe just put for your information in the newspaper that we've heard this, and if people have got concerns or want to know, please come in and talk to us. I don't know how you're going to get those people to come in and say anything. They'll probably just bitch and gripe after it's all done. If it does go through, that's the way those people kind of act anyway. So, all right, thanks.
Could put a question on the website and let them answer that.
Yeah, you can do that. Yep. Thanks.
Okay, we got a few minutes before the first person for the budget. Committee reports. I went to Tim's G19191 class the other day, all day school up down at the sheriff's office for Incident Command Center and EOC. It was a very interesting class. It was taught by the guy from Benton County and one guy from the state. We had a good turnout there, I thought. They had discussion, everything. They kind of had some scenarios that would happen or something, so it was a good class. If anybody wants to read the book, you know, they're welcome to read it. Also, I had public health meeting last Friday. At the public health meeting, we went over the budget. She's going to be presenting the budget later on. We had a audit by the state, and there is a bunch of things that they wanted corrected, and they are correcting them, and the state could come in and give us another audit right away on this.
They will come in and give them another audit. It's within a certain amount of days.
So I'll pass that around. And then John and I were at the CIDCO meeting last week, so I'll let John report on that when it comes to time. We have time for him. Did you have any committee meetings, Dawn?
I went to the Rock Island Clean Line meeting, which was the same night as CIDCO, and I was glad I went because there were quite a few people there. It sounds like they have not gotten a huge percentage in Iowa or Illinois of their voluntary waivers, so it sounds like if they want it to go through, they're going to have to do a lot of work to get that done. I think it's a case of they're not against clean energy, they're just against having it go across their land. So it was a very good informational meeting. I thought there was a good turnout, and I was glad I went. The other thing is I attended ISAC new officer training and got a lot out of that. Got a chance to visit with a lot of people about the possibility of combining offices. Got to talk to 2 of the people in the counties that have done it, and to a county that tried to do it and didn't get it done. So, and I got to speak with a lot of recorders also at it.
They spoke to you, huh?
Yes. Sought me out. So, yeah, it was a rather interesting experience. One of the main concerns that I took out of it is the fact that the multi-residential rollback is going to be coming on, and it's going to be a pretty big hit, could possibly be a pretty good sizable hit for us. We might want to be finding out what's going to happen with that. And I don't know that they're talking about filling behind that. So it's gonna be an interesting
On
situation.
the multi-residential?
Mhm. So, like they've done the commercial, they haven't said what they're gonna do about that yet. And so there's gonna be a lot of the really big counties that have lots of apartments and lots of senior housing and lots of that kind of thing are gonna take a big hit.
College towns.
Mhm. So that's one of the things that we might wanna be keeping our eye on. But I got a lot out of it, so I'm glad I went.
And Dawn and I are going out to the 12th of February for the annual
Mhm.
one-day supervisors meeting out there. So
The other thing they're pushing at that too is the gas tax.
Yeah.
That all the counties seem to be unanimously in favor of gas tax. They wanna make sure that there's something in the bill that makes sure that the dyed fuels, that there's a way to track a percentage of that so that those funds come back to secondary roads. That's their big concern. So.
Okay, to stay on schedule, let's take Mary back there, the workplace, learning connection, and we'll come back to some more reports after the time.
I'm going to have two colleagues come up with me. That's all right. Anyway, we thank you, and I'm interested to see how your new process goes. I think that's very wise, rather than having people pop in and out all the time, so this is great. Let me pass this out to you. These are for the supervisors, and this is for the auditor. Is that correct?
No, Bev,
Bev.
the auditor.
Okay. There you go, Bev.
And
Thank
can I
you.
get the names of the two ladies?
Yes.
I'm Alicia Harper.
Okay.
And I'm Lisa Folken. Folken.
Thank you.
And I will be pleased to tell you what we've been doing. If you open up to the first page, which is kind of a letter, you'll see a picture of Alicia and another woman named Laura Kowalski-Bliss. And this year, Workplace Learning Connection has been able, because of a state grant, we've been able to expand our staff so that we have staff that actually live in our more rural counties. As you may know, previously we have just worked out of an office in Cedar Rapids, now Hiawatha, and one in Iowa City, soon to be in Coralville, in one of the new regional centers. But we've never had people actually placed in the counties, and we're really pleased to be able to do that. And I'll toss the ball to Alicia in just a moment and to Lisa in another moment. But we're really happy to be able to do that. We think it's made a difference, and hopefully they can share a little bit about that. The column over here to the left is a summary of everything Workplace Learning Connection did in all 7 counties last year. And the next little paragraph is just to ask you to consider contributing the $925 again next year that you've been doing. And I just want to let you know we appreciate it very much. And we will be talking to Rod Ness for the flow through to SEDCO, if that's still the way you choose to do it. Alicia has a pledge card. We can either leave it here with you or give it to Rod, depending on your decision. We're not going to assume anything at this point, but if you do decide to fund us again, we would appreciate a pledge card. Now, stating that so I can plan on the budget going forward, we would not invoice you until after the new fiscal year starts in July. So now that we have that out of the way, we can look at some fun stuff. Top of the next page are the schools that we serve in Cedar County. Unfortunately, we aren't able to serve them all because they're in a different community college region and a different AEA region. But we do serve the 3 that you see there: North Cedar, Tipton, and West Branch. There's 47 business hosts. You can look through that. Those were the ones that we worked with last year. It depends on what the children ask for, what the students ask for, where we select the businesses. Our goal is actually to keep them as local as we can. The only reason we would send them out of Cedar County would be because there might not be a particular career here. But if there's a career here, they are able to be placed there. I might kick it over to Alicia to talk about some of the new businesses and some of the additional services she's offering?
I worked with, this past fall semester, I worked with about 63 Cedar County students that wanted to have job shadows through careers that were of their interest, and I was able to place about 45 of those students within Cedar County. The ones that did go out of Cedar County were students that wanted to have a specific career shadow with the University of Iowa or something like that. So we were able to place all the students that wanted to stay here. And the best thing about it was I never had a single Cedar County business tell me no when I asked them if they wanted to host a student. And many of the businesses asked, what more can we do? So we've had some of the local businesses, Jab Inc., if you guys are familiar with that. That's one of our newest hosts, and he was able to host 2 students, one of which he took to Rotary meetings, and they got to meet other small business entrepreneurs, which is what the student wanted to learn in their career field. And from that, the student got open to more scholarships, and they're going to graduate. And so that was one of my success stories, and he's actually, from that, he's finding some students that are actually going to maybe work for him from this. So it was a pretty good success story. So I want to thank you guys for all your support, because if it wasn't for everybody here, I probably wouldn't get such good answers from all my Cedar County businesses. They always say yes to me, so it's nice.
Good.
Thank you, Don. And making those early connections, those early relationships, is a really cool way to build future workforce development. You know, we're looking, excuse me, to attract people to the region, but it's easier to retain at least a certain percentage of those that we need. And by starting those relationships early, the employer gets a chance to try it before they buy it. The student gets a chance to see if they fit into the culture and, you know, what that job really looks like. So we think it's a win-win for everyone. So we have Alicia housed now in the Tipton Kirkwood Center, and Lisa Fulken is the oversees that facility. And we've been really pleased with how she has allowed us to have a place there, and the whole staff there and Alicia work very well together. There's not a lot of room there, so they're kind of trading off office space, and it's like, who's there today? And but fortunately, with technology, we can be pretty flexible. So, Lisa, do you have any comments?
The only thing I would echo is just that it's kind of funny how you said the employer would try it before you buy it. We always use that for students too.
Yeah, that's true.
As you know, in growing up, half the battle is kind of figuring out what you want to do, and we always say it's always good to kind of try things and figure out what you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we do that through academies and through PSEO classes. That the high schools can earn college credit while in high school, and wherever we can, we want to make sure we interject those job shadows and internship to have that real world experience and get a taste for what that experience might be like, and so that they can really go into their college career, whether that's at Kirkwood or someplace else. We want to help bridge that for them and help them make that a really comfortable experience and know that this is something I definitely want to do. I've tried it. I'm really passionate about it. I want to do it. I mean, how many little kids do you hear that they want to be a firefighter or a nurse or a doctor, and until they really experience that and go witness that for themselves, do they really kind of figure that out for themselves. So we are huge advocates for it. You know, we work, and especially in the last couple of years, we work real closely with Workplace Learning Connection. I had the honor of being on the board for a couple of years, so I'm a huge advocate for it, and wherever we can, we like to support them as well. So this is why we're willing to kind of have Alicia in our building. It's worked out great. It really has. We have made it work, and we love having her in the presence of our schools too. So,
and as Lisa was saying, it's good for kids to find out what they don't like to do, and statistically, about a third of the kids that do a one-day job shadow find out that's something I really don't want to do. I really like the medical field, but boy, I don't like the stuff that comes out of people's bodies, so I don't want to do that. But maybe I could do something else. Maybe I could, if I'm good at math, maybe I could be in accounting or marketing or something like that, but be in the hospital area. So we've been pleased with that. As far as last year, we served 776 students in events. Some of those are financial literacy fairs, speaker days, worksite tours, a STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Institute, and mock interviews. We had 33 internships and 105 job shadows, and I think we're pretty much set to go past all those numbers this next year. The rest of this is some quotes from students, employers, and teachers in Cedar County. and then just a couple pictures. And then there was an article in the West Branch High School newspaper about job shadows and doing that. I don't think it was, no, I think it's the high school paper.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And then some of you may have noticed in the Tipton paper last week, there was an article as well about it.
The brochure that you have gives a little bit of data, just to kind of back up the value of some of this. From a high school point of view, the kids doing just a one-day job shadow, 86% of them said it formed a connection between high school and the world of work. The bottom two, I think, as community leaders, in terms of increased awareness of local career opportunities. Again, a one-day job shadow, 87% found out that they could have a career that they think they're interested in right here locally. And then 63% were positively influenced to live and work in Iowa. So whether or not they stay immediately or if they go on, go someplace else, they know that they can come back and have the type of career they want, the type of lifestyle they want. And we think that's pretty good. One last thing, I am retiring at the end of June. I know, some of us have grown gray together. But we're in really good shape. We have a fantastic staff. We were able with that grant to add 3 more part-time people to our staff so we could be out in the counties. The Iowa City office is moving out to the Johnson County Regional Center on the University of Iowa campus at Oakdale. We obviously have a presence at the Jones County Regional Center. We have a presence this year, started at the Washington Resource Center, and our Cedar Rapids office moved to Hiawatha. So we've got good access to kids in all the academy programs. Whether you have a regional academy in your area, your kids do have access to the academy programs. So we think we're in good shape with the state finance. That has really done a lot for us and helped develop 14 peer organizations across the state. So now every community college has intermediary organizations such as Workplace Learning Connection. It's all due to the work that we've been able to do and the partnerships that we've had in this part of the state. So we've been the model for a lot, the model for funding. That's unique in the country. We belong to a national organization, and I can't tell you how many of my national colleagues every 2 or 3 years have to kind of reinvent themselves because of whatever federal funding stream is out there. But we decided early on that we would keep it local, but we didn't want it on any one entity's shoulders, not on the school shoulders, not on business shoulders, not on community shoulders. So we've had a very diverse funding formula, and you all have been a part of that, and we thank you. So.
2 questions. First
Yes.
of all, does that funding work okay with you if we go through SEDCO?
Yes, that's just fine.
So which we'll probably do again.
Okay.
The second thing is I noticed on there, we have older people in our county.
Okay.
But I don't see Cedar Manor and Prairie Hills on there for job shadows, don't
Okay.
they? Do
You
any of the
didn't
kids
see-
want to go to them places?
Oh, did you not see them in
Yeah.
there? Oh, well, actually, I'm working on placing a couple students at Cedar Manor this particular
say they've always
semester.
done it before.
I think it's
Yeah,
not
they have.
up to current, but
Okay.
I think that what was listed in there was probably within the last year.
It was last year. It was 13,
Okay.
14. And
Okay.
depending on what students ask for,
Their interests.
what their
Mhm.
interest is where we direct them. Now,
Yeah.
dietitian is something we've put at Cedar Manor in the past.
Lots of CNA.
CNA, physical occupational therapy. So thank you for bringing that up. But
Yep.
I knew Alicia was.
We've had a lot in the past, but just not this past year on
I
that.
say my
so.
granddaughter used to volunteer up there
Yeah.
at Cedar
Okay.
Manor, and she
Very
enjoyed it,
cool.
so.
I'm placing a dietitian there right now as we speak, so.
Oh, good,
Yep,
good.
they've been very open to us.
Good.
Yeah.
Are the students in Bennett, Durant, Wilton, and rural West Liberty, they serve them by Eastern Iowa Community College? Do they have the setup similar to this?
Right.
We have
That has
junior achievement. Our program, similar to yours, is junior achievement that we do K through 12.
But do they have an intermediary?
They have an
network, too?
intermediary affiliated with Eastern Iowa. It works out of the Quad Cities, so we do work back and forth as well. Yeah.
Question and a comment.
Yes.
First, the question, you mentioned the grant, which allows you to be
Right.
here. Is that ongoing? Is it going to be 3 years from done, or find funding elsewhere?
It's a budget line item. It came in through, I'm trying to think what the whole program is called, the Skilled Skilled Something initiative. It covers the gap tuition assistance. It covers, Jeff, can you help me out with any of that?
Skilled workforce?
The skilled workforce.
Skilled workforce
Yeah,
initiative,
thank you.
I think is.
Yeah, and so we're in that, and there's lots of workforce programs embedded in that. Steve Oval, who is our government relations coordinator, or director who works with Kirkwood, has been a marvelous advocate for that. Back in 2005, we got the policy framework through the legislature. Were you part of the legislature then, Jeff? And it went through 100%. So everybody that was in the legislature at that time, we can say thank you because it went through 100%. The difference was it created a fund, but it was unfunded at that time. But the policy framework went through that allowed intermediate organization in every community college. And then in 2010, we got some seed money, but it was only for 1 year, and things pretty much went away. And then in 2013, it went through the legislature again. $1.5 million was allocated to the 15 community colleges in Iowa. So we each got just slightly under $100,000. About $50,000 went to the Department of Ed to have some oversight and run an advisory committee and that type of thing. And we give reports every year. We gave our first one at the end of last year, 2014. And it's, unless we screw up or the bottom falls out of everything, it's as secure as it can be. So we're really pleased with that. And the other community colleges are jumping in totally. So I'm very pleased. We meet face-to-face once a month. And those who can't join can join by phone, but we have wonderful turnout, and people are picking up all the pieces. We have a statewide network now called the Midwest Intermediary Network, because we spill over on our borders into Illinois. Is also part of Blackhawk College in Illinois is part of Eastern Iowa Community College District's program, and then Sioux City works with I can't remember what their partner is over in South Dakota, and then there's some spillover from Council Bluffs to Omaha. So we call it the Midwest Intermediary, but it's mostly Iowa. So. And
my comment was basically, I know a lot of the success for this program in our area goes back to you. I remember when we first started.
Yeah.
It was not easy.
No, it wasn't.
And
it wasn't.
The
but we
reception from the school,
yeah.
the reception from the
yeah.
business is not where it is today.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of the kudos go to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We've always had wonderful partners through Kirkwood, through the communities, through the school districts. Everybody wanted. I always tell people we were born under an umbrella of optimism because everybody wanted it to work, the businesses and the schools. And we've been able to accomplish a lot, which has led to some national recognition and then the statewide network. So. And
this year, I've heard more back from parents than I've ever heard before.
And I think that's due to Alicia's work and Laura's work. Yeah.
I think as a parent, if I can get my child who's interested in something to test drive it before I pay for tuition.
Absolutely.
I am much more in favor of that than having my child who doesn't know what they want to do just go float in college and take a bunch of classes that may not go towards the degree that they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as a parent, I would think they would be greatly in favor of it.
And that's a challenge, getting the information out to parents. We try and have articles on the school's websites and in the school's papers and things, but getting to parents, because once the parents see it, then they can encourage their kids to participate. So anyway, and Dawn, one other thing I'll say, your comment about junior achievement, great program. We have a very, very active JA program in our Cedar Rapids Metro and Iowa City Metro area too. The distinction there, it's more the in-class curriculum that builds K through 12. So we do more of the out-of-school stuff, and they do more of the programming.
So then Durant Schools then would contract through Eastern Iowa to participate.
Right, absolutely. What I can do, and I probably should have included it near my last Board of Supervisors visit this year, but what I can do is send out to your chair a map of the state of Iowa that has all the contacts and where they're located. You might get other questions.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll do that. So.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good luck on your retirement.
Not yet. We're working on that. We're working. The nice thing though, Kirkwood has 14 of us, or 18 of us retiring this year. 14 are not being replaced, but Workplace Learning Connection will continue pretty much as we have. So probably with an associate director, because we're struggling with some of the financial issues that everyone is. And Todd Prusha, who's the dean over, or the executive dean over Lisa's programs and our programs, will take on a portion of that, but we will have an associate director for Workplace Learning Connection. Will be stellar.
And I'm glad you gave her kudos, because if somebody didn't, I was going to, because our president always says when he came in, he wanted to go from good to great, and Mary Lou has been a part of that, and she really has, and she received a presidential award yesterday, so clearly what she's doing is good, and it's going to continue, so.
Congratulations.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen LaFrance. Brought Dale along to
I did.
do all the talking.
Moral support. I wish you would. Dale is my new treasurer on the board, so he came along just to see what was going on and give his comments as we go along. Here's our budget. If it looks different, I lost everything on my computer this year. I think I gave 3 on that side and 3
Yes.
Don claimed all 3.
I was.
So it does look different. I had to redo everything. We got a virus on our computer this year and lost everything. So now I've learned how to back up everything. So, I guess most of you guys know that we run the Tipton Senior Center and we do the meals for all of Cedar County. This last fiscal year, we served 30,717 Older American Act meals and another 5,530 elderly waiver meals. So it's a total of 36,247 meals served last fiscal year. This fiscal year we're on right now, Heritage cut us a substantial amount. They only gave us 28,035 meals. We lost 2,712 meals. It's going to be tough on us because right now we're already hitting our limit every month on how many we can serve. With that loss of 2,700 meals into our budget, that's $11,367 that we lost as possible income because we get paid for each one of those meals, of course. Because of that, this fiscal year we have cut hours and positions. We cut our full-time employees, which is me and the head cook, down to 75 hours for a 2-week period. So 5 hours we both were willing to give up so that we could stay open. We cut our assistant cook from 5 hours a day to 4.5 hours a day. We cut our janitorial position completely. But because of that, we had a member at the Senior Center go to the Masons, and the Masons did donate $10,000 to the Senior Center to help us hire a janitorial person. So we hired somebody else for that position, and that money is being used just for that. So that has helped us out a little bit. We've been working hard since Dale's come on to find other sources of income. We did finally get letters out to all the cities. The only response we got was Loudon gave us some money, Clarence gave us some money, and Tipton actually promised to put us in their budget for next fiscal year. They said $5,000. Now, if we get it, we'll see. But Betty Emmerich actually went to the meeting and talked to them, so they actually are considering supporting the Senior Center, which is the first time they have done that. So, but nothing from West Branch, Durant, Bennett, Mechanicsville, Stanwood, so, and we sent the same letter out to everybody, so. We are also working once a year with O'Rourke Motors, who has jumped in. Jerry O'Rourke is on our board now, and he is letting us sponsor, or being sponsored for that Drive for Your Community event. And so the last 2 years we've gotten $6,000 off of that, which is the most simple way to get $6,000. I mean, you have people come test drive a car, and you get, what was it, $20 per person, I think.
Yeah.
So it was
Right, so
simple,
people- I did it. It was
great
fun.
way, yeah, great way to get $6,000 very easily, so. Otherwise, we're trying, I don't know, we do our fundraisers, we do this and that, but as you see on our budget, I put that we need to get $13,486 in donations in order to meet our budget. We're never gonna get that, so. I mean, we do get some donations put in, but we'll never get that much. So we're searching. You have any comments?
Well, one thing, we've been taking in some monies from memorials.
Yeah,
People are
that's-
dying off, so as they die off, our attendance goes down. So if, if the attendance goes down, their income goes down with it. So, we need to get more people in there. That's what we're trying to get some younger people back in, and we encourage donations. Hopefully, the people that's attending, will feel like they can donate. One thing with donations, correct me if I'm wrong, if we pay every time that we go and eat. If we put our money into our little envelope, it goes to Heritage. If we put in additional over what they recommend, it goes to the Heritage. But we have a jar set up there in the senior dining that people can donate, and that money stays here locally in the Tippin Senior Center or the Tippin Senior Dining. So we're trying to make everybody aware of that too, that they can donate, but sometimes we get to keep it, sometimes we don't get to keep it. So depends where it's donated to.
What's Heritage's excuse for cutting
Federal funding.
their funding part of it? Federal?
Yeah.
Cutting back on theirs?
Yep. They cut everybody. I mean, we didn't have as big of a cut as some people did. I mean, Cedar Rapids got cut really bad at Horizon, so.
Do you feel is Cedar County getting their fair share of the $110,000 or whatever that, for instance, it's raised this year at the telethon?
We haven't gotten anything yet. I haven't heard anything. I mean, I heard that it was successful, but it usually takes a couple, 3 months before we see that.
What's that look like in the past? Do you feel like Cedar as a percent of the other counties has received?
Probably. Last year I think we got maybe 2,600, something like that. I mean, not a large part, but we're also one of the smaller parts of the 7 county districts, so hopefully we'll get enough to, pay for those extra meals in June that we're not going to get from Heritage, is what it's going to come down to. So, or otherwise it gets to that point where you say you're going to stop your congregate meal sites because those people don't need them as much as your home delivered meal people. So that might be our problem as we go down the line. So.
Yeah.
But
last year the state put in about 100,000, I think, but it was just a stopgap and a one-time only until a permanent. So I don't think the federal dollars are going to come back.
It doesn't sound like it.
Either so the state or something's going to have to happen at the state level to backfill that in to keep these senior centers open, right?
Correct.
Is that where you're at?
Well, yeah. I mean, 2 years ago when they did the new RFPs, they had all these big organizations in there trying to, say they were going to do all 7 counties and take care of them. Well, that would be horrible. I mean, our people would not like meals that were being made in Cedar Rapids coming here. They're not going to be any good.
Well, they'd be frozen meals probably.
Well, yeah.
Cedar Rapids had, frozen meals and,
Yeah. So as long as we can keep our facility open, I think our people will be much happier. So it's a lot of work, a lot of miles that our people drive every day to deliver meals. So, and that's a big part of our cost is mileage. But that's Cedar County. We're rural. We have to get to everybody. So we appreciate your support and your help in the past. And if you have any other questions for us,
Are you asking for an increase in the?
We're asking for whatever you will help us with. We never say no to more money.
So your budget here includes what we had last year?
Yes, this is for this fiscal year. Yep, and the United Fund also gave us a few more dollars. I think they went up $1,500 this fiscal year too for us. So everybody's helping us, so we're trying to stay open and active.
So the shortfall, bottom line is the shortfall to meet this budget, which is the amount that we put in last time is 13?
Yeah, you
Roughly
put in 13.
13,000.
Yep, and that's included in this, so it's just everyday costs. I mean, when you lose that many meals and you depend on that income, is what's hurting us. And it's hard to keep that building open, so.
Well, your
Especially when
salary
it
is certainly
snows.
reasonable, for crying out loud. For a director, if I'm looking at this right, that's very
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm looking
Yeah.
at the expenses, like 2014 and 15, it was 162,175, and now it's 211,717. On the back page and then the second page, the total expenses.
Total expenses, yeah. What are you looking at?
Well, on 2014-15,
Oh.
last year the expenses were 162,175, and this year you're 211,717 for total expenses. I guess where's this number, that 211,717? Is that just a balance of income, or?
No.
Because right above it, it's got Heritage Nutrition expenses, City Nutrition sub-budget, 162,175.
Right, that's this
That's just
budget
this
over
part
here.
Okay.
I would think it would have been less.
Well, I see, this isn't last year, this is.
No, this is.
This is current year, okay.
This
I
is
see
all
what-
current.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
you
this
got a
is.
sub-budget and then you got your under budget.
Correct.
Okay, I see what, okay.
Yep. The sub-budget is
Yeah,
separate from the
162
other.
months. Yeah, I see what.
Yeah.
I think
Last year I
what was
had
your-
them in two different piles, so that's
Yeah.
probably what's confusing.
Yeah. Because what was your expenses last year, do you remember? What's your budget
No, it's
for?
not on a total here. I've got it right here, but it's
You
not-
have it?
It's not total.
Because I didn't type it in last year.
Yeah.
I can
You
find
go
out
back
for you.
through and
Yeah,
type it
I
in.
I know
had it on
it's
my
gotta
memory
be
here.
more, because we cut that position and stuff, so it should be less total expenses.
Okay.
Because that janitorial position was in there before, and the Mechanicsville site manager position, we don't have that one this year either. Because my janitorial guy is actually running the meals to Mechanicsville and Stanwood, and then comes back and does the janitorial work. He's a really nice guy, but, so we did cut that, so. We cut positions where we can until Heritage tells us we can't cut anymore, but.
235 approximately.
Yeah,
What was it last year, John?
Approximately 235.
that sounds about right.
So it's 211 this year.
Yeah. So we have gone down.
Okay.
As long as it quits snowing and stuff, then we'll be all right.
What would be the typical number for donations? I know last year you had 7,777 in that line item. And maybe that was an option too.
That was just where I stick donations as what we need, because everything else is pretty much
All right.
what we're gonna get. I know, special events, I put that 6,000 in there, plus our other two special, fundraisers that we do. So I kinda just put donations there. Memorials, we have been lucky I wouldn't say lucky, but we've had a lot of people pass away that have been really good to the senior center probably within the last 3 or 4.
Memorials are up for the
Yeah.
first 6
So,
months, but
yeah.
that means,
But that doesn't mean that
it's just
that's
like an
gonna
inheritance,
continue.
somebody dies before you
Yeah.
you get it, so.
It's just been the people that have been very supportive of the senior center, and their memorials have been coming to us, so that helps. But we also have a lot of problems at the senior center, because the coffee maker quit working, and the stove is about to go, and we just
Dishwasher.
spent $700 to fix the dishwasher. It's all those, daily things so it adds up.
I think last year our expense to income ratio, what did we end up with, like $500 profit, over at the course. So I mean we're on a really tight budget. So and that's before anything else gets cut or lose more funding. It's going to go the other way now. So.
Karen, if we get more people to come down and eat at the senior center, is that going to help your process, or is that's not?
Probably not right now. We used to get to that point where we wanted more people to come down.
Yeah.
But since the federal funding is kind of set at that, if we get more people coming down there, that's just going to make our numbers go up, and I'm going to be in trouble.
That's what I'm.
Which is what I'm at kind of right now.
Well.
So, yeah.
You said Tipton was think might be 5,000. What was, do you know what Loudon and Clarence's contribution?
Clarence gave us 500, and I believe Loudon gave us 1,000.
I think
Yeah.
you said, yes.
And then was there a deadline on your letter for the other cities to weigh in?
No, it was just a letter that went out to all the city councils, so
Yeah,
we
the
could
letter-
still get more.
The letter that went out listed each community, how many meals were served in that community.
Okay.
So, I mean, each one knows how many, they had, so.
Karen, I was there at Stanley's budget
letter.
meeting when they read the letter. And here's where you need to do some PR. All they said was, why should we donate?
Okay.
People pay for their
Well,
meals.
no one's here, so I'm assuming maybe they're not.
Oh, really? Okay, that's something to put in the letter now?
And I think it would also be beneficial if you would have people that actually work at that, or volunteer at that center, go to the board meetings.
And that's what Betty Emmerich was talking about.
The letter just shows up, and I'll be quite honest, as a former mayor, we get letters like yours all the time from everybody and anybody, from fireworks displays to post-prom to, I mean, it just comes. So sometimes, some cities will take the hard line and just go, we'll either fund them all or we won't fund any. And that's kind of where it's not a non-budgetary item. If it's not in the budget, you might not get it in a lot of towns. So
Okay.
that's where your timing right now is very important as they're finishing up their budgets before they've been approved. So I don't know when your letter went out, if it went out in December or just
Probably November.
No, I think it was before December. Might have been.
November.
You go
maybe.
too early and you're gonna get canned. You get,
Yeah.
it's, December's kind of your good window. And like I said, I would have a representative from that organization, cause if the people that are attending it don't take enough time and consideration to go and ask for it, you probably aren't gonna get it. So that could be why you're losing some of the other towns, if people aren't actually going in and saying, you're helping this many people in this community. I think that's an important thing.
Connect with people from that community.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
even
We have
more
board
And I know
meeting
it's
on
not
Monday,
always
so
easy
we'll
for those folks to come
bring
out
that up.
if they're
I think that's why
meals
Tipton
or-
said yes, because Betty Emmerich's our new president, she went in there and talked to them.
And that makes a big difference.
Yeah, because people don't really understand the program unless they, makes sense, we appreciate it.
Yes, Tim?
Is there any way I can get a copy of your, how you serve each community? Because when I'm planning for disaster, that's great information.
Yes.
Jerry, probably got that.
That gives me a kind of a
No,
number of
I
how many
can, I can break, yeah.
If you can get us one of those too, that'd be great.
So how many meals?
How many meals you gave in the community is a great starting point. That's a great
breakdown
baseline.
of each community.
Okay, well, we had that on those letters, do you still have
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, you just said you had no letters, that's fine.
Jerry put them all on the computer, they're all broken
Jerry
down, so
wrote
he
them,
would
so-
have them, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we can't make any promises either, but sometimes we know who to talk to in those communities too, so just, if we can get those numbers, that is helpful.
Okay, so get that to you guys, and then you'll get it.
Or give it to Bev and she can email it out
You
to
get it
us
to me,
too.
I can get it out.
Okay, all right, we will do that. Okay, thank you very much. Any
Yes,
other questions?
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Dale.
Thanks for coming
Okay.
in.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sheriff Boyd?
Well, I called them, and apparently they got my original letter. I reminded them yesterday that their office was closed. She's gonna contact Dave Schenker. She knows they got the original letter saying the date and time. They'll reschedule apparently.
Yeah, it's downstairs.
They knew about it, I mentioned it to them.
I think they knew, but she doesn't know.
Okay, we go back to committee reports then. Brad, do you have anything?
I had ECIA, I didn't bring my notes, but I'll bring those. The Fair Board was interesting, 90% of that was about the race promoter. We're still going back and forth trying to find a race promoter, it's getting late. And been negotiating with him, and so I'm not sure how that's gonna come out, but tons of discussion on that. A little bit on fundraising, the committee they have set up for the fundraising, they need more help, and so they're gonna go like mad to try to get some funds coming in, more revenue coming in. That's really about all I have with the Fair Board.
John?
I mentioned last week that we had the EMA 911 meetings, on the 8th. see, the 911 meeting, I'll just kind of briefly go through some of the things. One of the things we need to do as a board is designate a 911 representative from this board for the county, because it kind of left us in limbo. We left myself for this last meeting, but in April we'll need to have that determination. And it kind of held us off as to who's going to be chair and so forth too. So we held off on that election. Orville is re-elected as vice chair. The hearing's going to be on the 29th for the budget at 8:30 in the morning. Is that going to be here? Did you find out? Okay. Let's see. I know the law of channel moves to 100% P25 in December this year. I know that email's been circulating too, and some stuff with on the 5-year plan of things that need to be upgraded. We talked about move to improve the Cedar TAC and administrative phone system and dispatch and tower locations. We talked a little bit about that and had a diagram and had some discussion on the towers and so forth. And let's see. Tim's going to NENA conference this spring, maybe. Depends on when your surgery is. And we did have a letter presented from a citizen in concern of Tim, and that's on file and down there. That was the 911 EMA meeting. New business, once again, the budget hearing will be the same date as the one for 911. We talked a lot about the assessment, maybe going from $250 to $350, $1 per capita. We bounced that around, discussed that at length, and it was moved to leave that or put that at the $350, and then every 2 years take a look at incremental increases, so that the other communities would have and the county would have the ability to budget that and know what's coming, that we wouldn't have a larger increase. So we were looking at possibly 25 cents every 2 years rather than waiting on a longer period. Talked a lot about the 911 position through the EMA in both meetings and so forth. Salamander and Dragonfly programs, what was the other one that we had prior to that didn't work?
Iron Key.
Iron Key.
Iron Key.
So we got to pay $100. We're going to pay $100 for the new programs and $500 for the reader, and that'll help us with getting basically checking and making sure verification for credentialing and so forth. And that could be used by all the participating communities and organizations that are related to a disaster. And talk a little bit about training that's coming up. The 700-100 is coming up January 30th to 31st here at the courthouse, 8 to 4 each day. Hazmat classes and so forth. And we had a letter from a citizen in regards to the EMA and Tim that was put on file also and read, the board members read. So that's basically that meeting. Then we actually convened as the new, Cedar County, well, let's see, what's it called?
It's not Crime Stoppers, they changed the name.
Yeah, it's Crime,
But that's what it was.
it's the Crime Stoppers. It's just a change of names, but basically, I should have that in here, I saw it in here earlier. Just got too many meetings. But basically, we met, we approved the bylaws, we elected officers, and so that we can, it's Cedar County Crime Stoppers now. The president is I'm not sure. I don't remember. Maybe it is me. I wrote down who made the motions, and I don't have on here. But and then anyway, we did the officers. I can double check that, and we will meet as per the bylaws, and of course, if there's no business as far as getting those folks money that are requiring it. If there's nothing like that going on, we probably won't have a lot of business, but we do have the organization back up and going again. The bylaws are filed with the state.
Do you still need me to be on that for your, I was on that previously. Do you need me to still be on that? Or, because the mayor is supposed to go to the other two meetings. That was my representation on the
mayor
E9 one and the other one.
The mayor is
So you
supposed
want the
to-
mayor to be on that?
The mayor or the representative.
Okay.
Their designated representative.
What's it called now, did you say?
Cedar County Crime Stoppers.
Cedar County Crime Stoppers.
Okay.
I think it was Crime Stoppers with Cedar County before. So, anyway, that's that one. Sedco, basically, election of officers. Greg Wagner is the new chair. Mark Royal is vice chair, and Adam from Mechanicsville is secretary treasurer. And Rod did a presentation with some new Sedco goals, kind of what he is perceiving as future goals for Sedco, and kind of where he fits in that. I know he'll come in with his presentation and budget and so forth, but they're not budgeting any increases at this point. I know it's a little bit different of a presentation as far as goals, and I don't know how much Rod's going to get into that today, but it's a lot, I think, a little bit different than what we've had in the past. So I encourage those folks to, if they have questions, anybody has questions as to the emphasis by Sedco and the path that we're taking. It's more community development oriented, and I would talk to Rod in regards to that. Next meeting's February 10th, and I'll kind of leave it brief in regards to that meeting. That's it.
Is that it?
Yep.
John, can I have a question for John real quick? I know I was at that PMA meeting that talked about the per person assessment. But how is that per person assessment applied? I mean, is it per property tax payer or
Per capita.
Per capita.
Per capita? How do you collect that?
Each community has an assessment, and each community pays as that chart that was handed out at that meeting.
The community pays it?
The community pays to the auditor, and auditor puts it in the funds. It's
How do
been
they-
going every year.
How do they collect it?
Through a levy.
So they levy for it, and then again, it goes back to property taxpayers in that community. So how?
Well, basically, if you're renting, the people who own the building, their assessment's going to go up to represent those people. So they can either pass it on as an increase in rent, or they have to absorb it.
It's strictly on a per capita on the census years, like we're going on 210 right now.
Okay. So the amount collected is based on a per capita basis,
Yes.
but I just couldn't understand how you could actually collect it equally from every citizen. That's the part I couldn't
So
understand.
the
how
city,
that could be
city
equal.
can't do that. They got to levy the taxes. So they spread it out over their tax in their budget. They don't per
Just levy
capita.
per capita, yeah.
So.
But they know how much they got to pay to the county.
Right, so people that pay more property tax are gonna end up paying more?
That's right.
Yeah, so, yeah, okay, well, that's the part that I couldn't.
Okay. Jeff, do you have anything?
Get quite straight in my mind.
Yeah, I had 4 meetings in the last week. I went to the Rock Island Clean Line, she covered that good enough. I had a very, very, very long meeting with, from the Highway 30 Coalition, Edith Pfeiffer. Yes, bottom line is they don't have sample resolution language for us yet. It took a while to get there, but we got there, and so I asked her to gave her Bev's number and or email and asked her to send us the sample resolution. Basically, she is under the impression that although there's nothing written down, she's under the impression that the Department of Transportation has shifted their emphasis of importance from 4-laning Highway 30 to 6-laning Interstate 80. Now, she doesn't have there's nothing written down that way. It's just a hunch. And at that, where I met with them, also another person that was there was Dave Rose, who's on the Transportation Commission, who actually makes those decisions. He wasn't nearly as definitive about that. But so what this resolution will essentially do is essentially assert how important it is for Highway 30 to get 4-lane. She also asked if we would be willing, like she did last year, and I says last year the board was willing to do that, and I'm sure they would this year, to host she wants to have a meeting with 3 counties now instead of 1, with all of the mayors that are in those counties. And I believe the counties were, I think it was Clinton and Lynn. All of the counties that are along Highway 30, the mayors of those communities. And I said, just have to let us know, and I'll pass it on to the board. She wanted to know, is there a place in Cedar County where they could meet? And I suggested it wasn't really big. We could probably meet in, they'd like it to be right along Highway 30. I said, but the only place I know of is, there's a separate room in at Ditto's.
Ditto's.
So she's gonna get back to me if that's happened. So that was kind of the gist.
At Ditto's.
I suggested maybe the Ditto's, and she said she could, I think the Highway Commission would provide a meal, I believe is what she said. So that was kind of the gist of that meeting. Went to the Wilton Chamber of Commerce dinner meeting, not the regular economic development, and really the Cedar County topics that were discussed there is the main one is all the work that's going on. If you've been on 38 north of Wilton, headed out to Interstate 80, you'll see it's tore up. Albert Walton's.
There's some very disgruntled.
Yes, Albert Walton is, and boy, if you look by there, you can see why. They got a lot of work to do, but things seem to be progressing there, and it all depends on how much longer they're going to be able to continue working in those during this weather. If the weather shuts them down, it's going to be a little later on, but they're focused on that. And fourth, I guess I didn't attend it, but Thursday I'm supposed to get on, and they're having problems getting a quorum, so I need to be on from 12 to 1. So maybe when you guys break for lunch, I'll just...
Thursday, what, Highway 30?
No, this is for community action, I'm sorry. Community action. So when you guys break from 12 to 1, I'll just stay here and get on because on the telephone and sit through that meeting. I think it shouldn't be a long one.
Okay.
So those are the 4 for me.
Can I ask a question?
Well, yes, Tim.
Jeff, on the Highway 30 Commission,
Mhm.
do you think it would be any advantage if we got the mayors of all the communities on 30 in Cedar County to agree on a route prior to help the DOT not go through that process if they have that all done?
I don't know the answer to that question, but that would be a very good question to ask at that meeting. And you have, at some point in time, you have impressed Edith Pfeiffer because she wanted to know about the EMA guy. And would he be able to come to the meeting? And I said, well, he could certainly. You've made a friend. I don't. So.
I don't think they don't have a route.
No, I mean, you can ask that question, Tim. I don't know the answer to it. I'd just be guessing.
I know in some of our, we'll have the commodity study flow done this year, 15. And I've already seen that, show the hazards, what happens and all that. And then I will tell you, we've already contracted for 16, 17, and will be in 17, to have the risk assessment of the commodities flow study of Cedar County completed by the end of 17. And that flow will show you for development and everything how to go and where the hazards are.
Well, we'll let you know when we have, if we have that meeting. I think that'd be valuable information to share.
Let's take 5 first.
Right now, but if we had to,
Okay, this is the time for the libraries. If the other women, there's chairs up here if you want to sit down.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
My name is Nick Shimon. I'm with the West Branch Public Library. I've been the director there since the beginning of 2007, and we'll be answering any questions, providing you with some information here on the Cedar County Libraries today. Need one more? Okay. Provided in the packet here, the first part is the breakdown of income and expenditures for the 8 libraries. I believe this is actually the first time that you guys may have seen numbers from Durant. We've been working with them this year to actually provide you with numbers. They work a little bit differently on a contractual basis with the Scott County Library System. So that's provided on the first 3 pages. There's a breakdown of the income, expenditures. They're very much simplified and sort of normalized across the different libraries, since we all have slightly different line items in our actual budgets. But if you do want additional information, I can definitely provide that to you. So our basic request for services next year will be a $10,000 increase from $95,000 to be split among the 8 libraries to $105,000. First and foremost, the reason for that request is that there are 8 of us, so any materials or any items that are provided to us in terms of funding are split 8 ways, and therefore it's rather small by the time it gets to us. Due to the nature of our services, it does require people to come to us, so it's not something that we can easily locate in one place. Another reason is just general inflation. Costs of things go up. Office supplies, materials that we buy, staffing, of course. There are several items in terms of actual services that we provide. In general, our work is stratifying. People normally think of libraries in terms of circulation, materials lending, and that sort of thing, which we still do, and the numbers are still fairly consistent across the board. But we do have much more of a draw from into other services that we provide as well over the past few years. One of the things that I'll show is the circulation in Cedar County for electronic checkouts, the e-books that people can get on either e-readers or tablets. As you can see, that's gone up significantly over the 5 years that we've offered it. The thing of note is, while it's still honestly relatively a minor collection, people do want it, since we are circulating close to 400 to 450 items in the county per month. But they are very expensive. Each ebook, there are 2 models basically for ebooks. One are you can have it forever. Those items usually cost $85 to $95 each, so significantly more than a regular book does. The other model is on a metered system, so it will cost more like a normal book does, $15 to $25, but it'll expire after a certain number of checkouts or after a year or so. So it is a costly service, but one that people like. Honestly, it's just nice to be able to move on to another item at 10:30 at night when you're sitting in bed, rather than having to wait for the next day's library operations. It is like I said, relatively small collection of ours. So at this point we can't move directly from print to ebook, so we can't save any money there. It's sort of, like I said, just diversifying what we're providing to our communities. And libraries in general are switching away from just providing circulation materials. People are looking for us more for a place of community gathering, and I hesitate to say community center because you think of basketball courts and multi-purpose rooms and that sort of thing, but what I'm referring to is places where people can come and sit and, for instance, we have one woman who's been going through college courses and needs to get out of the house because, when you're at home, you've got pets, you've got kids, and it's not really conducive to studying. So she would use our multi-purpose room, our meeting room, for studying once a week. We have people who come in to meet with clients who can't do so in the home. Either it's a nice middle distance between two entities, or it's just not professional to meet in the home. You'll have kids running around, you'll have pets running around the ankles, and when you're trying to conduct a business meeting, that doesn't really work. Think of it sort of as a sort of the coffee shop sort of mentality, without having to buy, a $4 coffee. One of the other ways that we're diversifying is there's much more of a draw towards programming and sort of socialized gathering within libraries. I did provide a graph of the county library's programming attendance. As you can see, over the past 6 years, it's gone up from a little bit over 8,000 to close to 16,000. And I'm not trying to say that that's, look at how good the service is, just on the pure cost of that. If you look at saying, well, it costs $1 per person who attends, that's an additional $8,000 per year that the libraries are spending on programming. I actually don't think that we can actually do $1 per child. I think it'd probably be more of $1.50 to $2. So the costs are even up towards that. But there are additional costs in terms of bringing in presenters, especially during the summer. A lot of them will require travel costs. Many come from the Des Moines area, just because there's a lot of interesting places out there. Blank Park Zoo, which may or may not be in Des Moines.
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought. I wasn't entirely sure. Who offer great programs, but do charge anywhere from $100 to $300 to come to the libraries to present, and many of them incur travel costs as well. We do try and split that to reduce costs, but it is something that we do often have to pay. So that's in general what we're looking at. Libraries are still providing the normal services that we always have, but there's much more of a draw towards the other stuff. We're doing far more in terms of helping people print things, copy things, fax things, fill out forms online, turning into much more of an assistive community center rather than just circulation, although we still, of course, do that, and it's still one of our major services that we offer.
The electronic checkouts that you were talking about, is that countywide, or does one library provide all the electronics?
The way that our contracts are organized with the companies that provide that is that each community has to pay in order to provide that service. Cedar County, the unincorporated parts are sort of added in because we all provide contractual service to Cedar County residents. But say West Branch pays in based on our population, a certain amount per capita. Tipton does likewise, and so on and so on. West Branch, we also provide additional materials so that our patrons don't have to wait in line for the long waiting lists. So we do provide some additional materials just to our residents as well. And Cedar County counts as that as well, since they are considered our direct service population as well.
Well, and then you also pay for the books on top of that? Because you were saying like a book is like $15, or if you want it permanently, it's $85.
So
above that cost?
Say for a popular title, the cost that we would look at are for internally the library, we would look at possibly getting a copy, which would run us around $15 after our discount. If it was popular enough to get any book, that would run us possibly up towards $85, $95. If it's something that we feel that somebody who has reading impairment would like, that would be another $25 to $30 for a large print book. and if we feel as though it would be a good audio edition as well, then there's another $35 for the audiobook as well as another $10 for the case.
But what I'm saying is that $85 that you pay to have that for e-person, is it, do all the libraries have access to that in the county? I mean, if somebody from Loudon that wants to read that, can they read it? And somebody from Tipton read it? And you only need one for all the libraries? Or?
There are two ways that libraries pay in for our electronic book services. One is that we pay on a per capita basis, which went up a couple years ago in order to deal with increasing costs, which I assume will go up again here soon, just based on the popularity of the service and, again, the rising costs of the ebooks. Each library then has the option of buying for their individual libraries, should they determine they want to be part of that service as well.
That seems strange that they get one for, you could have one for the whole county, that everybody in the county could use, instead of each library having their own.
It would make much more sense if we could go in as a organized entity within that service, but it's how we're regulated in terms of what the provider allows.
What's the per capita cost?
I believe ours for West Branch was $515 this year, so it's relatively small per capita. But then again, like I said, on those very popular titles, we do buy specifically for our own library.
Now, I have a question for you.
Sure.
And I'm familiar with Durant's situation, but I want to know countywide. Almost all the libraries now become the Workforce Development Center, where we had workforce computers brought in that were specifically for people to do job searches, work on resumes, those kind of things. Do all of the other communities have those also? Or are there only certain ones? Because that's a big factor, I know, as far as services for our library. We have a large amount of people that come in the afternoons after they get off work or when they're job searching.
That's actually a question that I would have trouble answering for the other libraries. We, in West Branch, provide the services on our own computers. When they offered to provide another computer for us to use, we honestly said we didn't have another space for it. We just honestly didn't have another Carol for a computer. So we installed the software on there. We get very little use in West Branch because they still have the Iowa City location open.
Okay.
So most of the people in West Branch who would use that service go into Iowa City. So I honestly don't know that for the rest of the libraries.
I also have a question about schools. I know a lot of our kids come after school to use the Wi-Fi because their computers through school are high speed and not everybody has high speed at home. And so we find that that's another big use for the libraries. Our library, I think Judy Frisch is around here somewhere, our library has actually increased in use and capacity. And we had one councilman who said, basically, why do we need to fund libraries? Nobody reads books anymore. Well, books, there's still a lot of people that read an old-fashioned book, but there are a huge amount of services that the libraries provide besides that, especially after school.
That is one thing that I could have provided, and I just didn't think of providing, is sort of our computer stat count. I know in West Branch we do about 4,000 library computer uses per year. That doesn't count the number of people who are looking at using the Wi-Fi with their own devices, which I would love to have, and we're working on getting a device that would count that. But it's routine where we'll come into work and see somebody parked, one or two people parked in the driveway using our Wi-Fi, which is fine. I love the fact that people are able to come and use it. It's just I wish I could count that so I could say this is how many people are actually using the service.
Nick, were you going to say that? When you look at the usage of people who live in town versus people who live in the county, and then it's paid in, what we've talked about many times, what would our contribution have to be to match that? Right now you're asking for $105,000. What's the ultimate goal for parity, I guess, if you want to call it that? Do you want to know that?
You mean sort of matching the per capita?
Right.
It would be a lot. I haven't done the per capita figures for a while. I know many of us are in the 15 to 20 range of 15 to 25 range in terms of per capita from the cities. I think the last time I did the figures for the county, it was closer to 9 to 10, so it'd be a bit more.
This is from 2013, and we had a, based on the checkout numbers, you claimed that they were at 23% by rural, 23.57, and Cedar County was at 15.63 at that time. Do you know where those numbers are as of now?
So you're talking based on circulation use, or
yes.
That I honestly have never figured. I was talking about purely per capita.
Well, Vicki must have done it before.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, honestly, in the last, I've been in the libraries now for 19 years, and the percentages have stayed the same, no matter, whether within 1 or 2 points. We've always had way more circulation. I mean, the circulation numbers have stayed about the same percentage-wise. The funding is about the same. We do about 1/3 of our circulation is rural, but only 17%, or roughly 17% support comes from the county. So there's
And that was the discrepancy.
Yeah. And that's been, like I said, that's been around for almost as long as I have.
Has the state funding gone up, down, or?
It's isolated.
So it hasn't changed, you're saying?
I think it's down a bit from where it was, but it's up over the past few years. When I started, I believe, and I can give West Branch figures, I don't know those specifically historically for other libraries. When I started, we were making around $5,000 from the state income, and we dropped down about 3-4 years ago to around 3,000. As the Iowa Library Services, the state library was cut in terms of funding when sort of the economy was not doing so well. They did get increased funding for the past fiscal year, so I believe we're closer to 3,600 now. So it has hopped back up, but it's not to where it was as of yet.
Okay, any other questions for the library?
I know
The
you-
librarians got any comments?
You condensed your numbers from each community, but I know in the past we've asked for an actual budget.
Which I can easily provide. This was information that I had been told. I can easily, I condensed them from this, so I can email that to whomever, provide that.
Then the other thing, I know a letter had gone out from this board in reference to getting the training. Do you know where each library is?
I know several have started it. I did it prior to the request.
I'm done.
Yep.
The training, I took 2 online. I did it online.
I have a question about it. I'm going to be retiring next year, so the gal that's the assistant now is going to go through the training on Saturday the 31st. Her question about that is, if for some reason that meeting doesn't happen, will it be offered again? Say whether inclement weather or something, will that be offered again? And how will we be notified of that if it doesn't happen?
Tim shaking his head yes.
We'll offer it again, but
Okay.
But it's also available
I don't see
online.
any reason it wouldn't happen. I hired a instructor to come here for 2 days.
Okay.
But that's what it is. And I know I've had a lot of questions of why do we have to do this training? Well, what you just said is exactly what it is. The libraries became a social network, and the libraries are becoming a key meeting place for recovery after a disaster. You can get a lot of information there. They have a lot of history there, and they have Wi-Fi, and it's a great place to set up to help fill out the forms for all the people to help the citizens get their recovery started in the community, because the community itself is so tied up in recovery, they forget about sometimes their citizens because they're trying to get their infrastructure up. and it's part of the non-governmental organizations that will plug you into, and that's what we want you to understand how the system works.
I got a question. I'm from Stanwood, and been made president of the thing in the last few months. We've never been, as a library board, ever notified of what we need from anybody.
Up until this year, I don't think anyone had ever been. It just came out. It's the same thing. It's the 700, 100 courses that are on the FEMA website. We kept it very minimum for you guys. We didn't want to expand it out to all the classes. That way, we're just trying to give you a framework of what goes on within the federal government on how they deal with the disasters.
Yeah.
And
that still doesn't give us any list of what classes we need.
that is the classes. If you go on the FEMA website, if you plug in 100 and FEMA 700, those are the two classes. They take about 2 hours online. It's not a very hard course.
Okay.
The other thing is some of your board members might already be certified if they're on an ambulance crew or fire department or.
Yep.
No.
No. There's me and one other lady that's been there for about 3 years. The rest of them all new. And
it's not mandatory for everybody. You
no.
just have to have an oversight.
I've heard that it's just strictly president, but that's what I am now.
And the requirements don't, I mean, we don't have to have that documentation back until the July 1 when the funding goes out.
Yeah. Well, I have vacation planned for, we got this one coming up, so I need to find out if there's another one. I like taking them in person instead of on the internet. I'll check with you after the meeting.
That's fine. Right now we're doing the Friday and Saturday. That way to help each one, and you can always take it online. I know typically took it online right away. Got the certificates to me and stuff. Believe me, it's not that flat.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Thanks for everything you do in the community.
Thank you.
Would you like me to send you the
Okay.
please? Sure.
Like have a year contract.
Yeah.
So this has to be signed again and returned to us before our March meeting.
Oh, okay.
The contract that we have for the library services.
I didn't know where.
I don't know if you guys probably have a copy, but it's a year thing, so.
I stayed up working on
Okay.
it.
Should I just give it to them?
Yeah.
The 30th and 31st.
2 weeks
from
yesterday.
Yes.
Yes.
Not this one, but next one. And it's downstairs.
Is there,
Have you
does she have that? No, but I got a couple people in the store that said he might be interested. I wonder, Bev, do you have that? Do you have that email on that?
Hey, Wayne, can you
Friday,
give me just
Saturday?
a second in between? I'm going to call
Friday,
the Wilton
Saturday?
Development.
Your questions didn't want to be answered by the other communities.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know why.
I don't know, but
Oh, no,
I know
can
we
you
have 3
send that
development
tomorrow or
computers.
next day or
I mean, and they're
whatever?
busy.
He was the only one that would
All the
answer.
information on the meeting on the 30th and 31st.
But I know our computers are, I mean, you gotta wait in line to get on them at 10.
Well, it might be isolated because nobody else is working.
Yeah. But you know, we're 20 minutes from either direction. So I'm gonna call this. Hopefully I can get through. Well, they've got their meeting the same time we got budget stuff going on. That's not gonna work. If they had it, this evening, it could have been.
I don't know that. It's 600 bucks every time I bring it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what I don't want.
And we try to do 50. I brought him down Friday, Saturday. We'll do 700, 100.
No, I don't know.
Yep. Anybody answer?
If you don't, I can give you Becky's cell phone, or you can text
Don-
her.
Shape was down in Arizona, but
That's not one of the
One
fun.
day, one weekend, try to put it together because I've really got to park with birdies. So he understands it.
We're the largest funder. You think they
Well, I've
would?
got involved in some of that.
maybe something came up. I don't know.
Well, we can always leave it there. Maybe that's all pause. Are you taking a break? Pause? Okay.
So moved.
Okay, the motion been made by Kaufman, is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Second by Gal, roll call. Kaufman.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
And Dearborn Guy. We're in Stanwood Drainage District. That it went around that Don Etler had sent us that we've shipped it, and everybody read the project manual, they got that all down. This is for the Highway 30, 38 section, the DOT. We need to have a motion to approve the plan specifications and bidding documents for Highway 38 road crossing. And then we also have to set a bid letting date and time for February 3rd, 2015 at 10 a.m. And then we also need to set a public hearing date and time for February 3rd, 2015 at 11 a.m. on plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated costs. So the first one would be to approve the plan specification and bidding documents for Highway 38 crossing. This is the one that went around this morning. All the laterals that have to cross Highway 38, and this is what we took out of the general bid. So I need a motion to approve them.
And I would make that motion to approve
Okay, the
those.
motion's been made by Kaufman. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Bell. Any more discussion? Roll call. Kaufman.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Dearborn Guy. Okay, the bid letting date and the time of February 3rd at 10 o'clock, and that's what Etler's suggesting. That we set that for the bid letting date. And he must have got it okayed with DOT, so he said it at that time. So we need a motion to set that date and time.
So moved. Set that date and
Motion
time.
made by Gal.
I'll second it.
Second by Smith. Any more discussion? Roll call. Gal.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
And Dearborn Guy. Okay, the other thing is we need to set the public hearing date and time as for February 13th, 2015 at 11 a.m. for the plan specifications, form of contract, and the estimated cost. Yes.
And he recommends publishing it twice.
Yep. Once each week for 2 consecutive weeks in the paper and accounting and prior to the opening date.
And did you see my note on there? Since today's Tuesday, we thought we could get it in, Carrie and I thought we could get it in the Sun News this week. And then next week we could put it in the Conservative and Sun News. Is that
Okay with everybody?
Did she move it? Oh,
Nobody needed to.
oh, okay.
So moved.
Okay,
Sorry, I
motion
thought
made
you
by
heard.
Smith. Is there a second on motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Kaufman. Eating my dinner. Any discussion? Roll call. Smith.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Okay, that's that. Is there anything else to come before the Stanwood Drainage District?
here's a couple days minutes for second.
We got minutes from January 2nd, and minutes from January 6th that went around. Everybody's checked them. There was no additions or corrections to it. I move for approval of.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made by Smith. Is there a second? That motion?
Second.
Second by Gal. Roll call. Smith.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
And the other guy. Is there anything else? Did she get, she approved that, Betty, did she, for her right away, didn't she?
She said she would do it, and he, right now, Mr. Edler's planning on meeting with Betty and Lori on the 3rd when he's here after lunch.
Okay.
For the right, is it the right of way?
Right
We're doing
away,
the
yeah,
benefits.
we're doing the reclassification benefits.
Yeah, so you still have to come home and make those appointments,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
So, but last, and he recommended probably the same ones. So we could, what's the board's wish? You want to appoint them now? Since they are the same two that the auditors appointed for the.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion then.
So moved. To appoint those two.
Betty and.
Lori and Betty.
Lori.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made by Gal, second by Bell. Any more discussion? Roll call. Gal.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
And Dearborn Guy, so that's been taken care of, so. Anything else in the Stanwood Drainage District?
that notice to the paper before I go to lunch then.
There's nothing else. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn from the Stanwood Drainage District.
So moved.
Okay, the motion's been made by Smith. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Kaufman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned from the Stanwood Drainage District back into regular session. Our next one is the Historical Society at 11 o'clock. So we've got a few minutes.
Do the board members want me to let the Farm Bureau know if they're attending this? Or do you want to do that yourself?
I'm planning on it.
Yeah?
I'm planning on it. Brad?
Mm-hmm.
John?
I plan on it.
Jeff?
I'll check my schedule.
Okay.
It's the 2nd of February.
So I'll let them know right now what forum we're going.
Make that 5. It's good. I'm good.
Yeah?
Make it 5, yeah.
You want me to respond to that? Mm-hmm. Or maybe somebody already has it.
This went around from Paul Groove that he needs a little bit more information. Does the board want him to look at consolidation of other options other than the auditor recorder?
You mean as far as space or as far as office?
Talks about consolidation.
I think he's talking about other combinations of offices. I've never heard of any others, but maybe there's some out there.
The code allows for a combination of numerous offices, so, it's up to him, it's up to us as to what we want him to look at.
Are there any others in Iowa, John?
I don't know. I've not always gone by the fact that somebody else has done it, so let's try it out.
Yeah, well, I do too, but I just wondered if there were other examples.
Not that I know.
I think there's some that were like the offices downstairs. Some of those are combined, and I know we can't do VA. VA is kind of, you can't really technically combine their office with somebody else's office, but you can do other offices. So I didn't pull the code section myself, but you could combine the treasurer and the auditor. You can combine numerous different combinations. And I think we talked about. I know we initially brought it up that we could look at doing something and combining like the auditor with the treasurer or something like that. I don't know whether that's actually feasible in our county, but if Paul wanted to look at other options, that I have no issue with that.
Right now, I guess my feeling is that no other offices that I know of that have to be looked at, but that's up to the board what they want to do.
Should be relatively inexpensive for him to do that if he's charging a regular rate.
Yeah, he's going to do it under his regular rate. But I'm sure he wants some direction of which offices you want to consider consolidating.
Yeah.
Well, think about it, and if you have any ideas, email Paul and or call him and ask him to do it for us.
Should I file these with the file that we're requiring these people to do this?
Do you need a copy of that, Tim?
I got a copy.
Oh, you got a copy of it?
Yep.
Do we need to keep a file here?
As long as, you know what, as long as they keep it and sign off on it, that's fine. I think you gotta accept their word. If it ever came down to an audit, they'd have to produce it, that'd be on them, not us.
And I think you saw in Melissa's email that went around this Marshall County recorder, that she was available on Monday and Tuesday. Mel wanted me to make sure the board had that number. if they wanna talk to her.
That's the one that Paul's on.
Yeah, I told Paul I would talk to her.
Anybody want to talk to her?
I think I already have.
She talked to you, but you talked to her, though.
I talked to Polk County, I talked to Cedar County, I talked to...
And there was no mail when I went over
Yeah,
there.
you know, and the funny thing about being the female supervisor, there was only about 9 or 10 of us there. It was pretty easy to figure out which one was the new one.
What were all the recordings this for?
And that'd be newly elected. But some of them weren't. A lot of them were the ones that have been there a long time.
Right. They were probably commissioned to go out and talk to you.
I can tell you what you have on the agenda.
I even got
for
escorted to dinner one night.
Well,
Got to
we
sit
got-
with them at dinner time.
Since you're here, you can.
And it was
take
kind of hard
payroll.
to, it was a lot of, since nobody else came to me.
Jane Case is gonna discuss
Did they
hiring
what?
for the home health medical
What
coder
did they?
slash
No,
fiscal
they
assistant
did not.
position. At
It was a
8:45.
rather uncomfortable
Okay.
situation.
Treasurer at 9 o'clock, budget review. 9:30, Limestone Bluff RC&D funding. 10 o'clock, sheriff's budget. 10:45, conservation budget. 11:15, county attorney budget. 11:45, Matt Beddick of Crossroads wanted to give you a short update. 1 o'clock, mental health budget. 1:45, human services. 2 o'clock, Riverbend Transit funding. And 2:15, union negotiations, possible closed session. It'll be a conference call with all groups.
Okay.
Hey, Bev, I don't need these printed out, all these emails, because I get all the emails from the board.
Okay, I think she wanted me to make sure. Well, you got it.
Well,
Okay. I didn't do all of, well, okay. I did, because I didn't know if you're gonna get in discussion about it. Everybody got it, so I don't have to do it.
So do we wanna try to add the fair board onto that, at the end of that?
They're
Looks like-
supposed to be calling me.
Oh, sounds like they got a letter.
Scheduled.
I called Joyce, and she said she would have them reschedule it. She didn't know why they weren't working. Extension office was closed yesterday. She did get my message. I guess I should have called, Dave Schinker, but.
I think he's gone.
Oh, is it?
Unless he's back, he was gone.
Did you say you were gonna go to that Highway 30, or is that already done? Were you?
It's already been,
Okay.
but I was when I was in Des Moines, so.
That's right, yeah.
So I'll go to the next one.
All right, I'm making sure I got
Oh, yeah.
Edith Pfeiffer's. As soon as I get her cell phone, maybe I'll get that to you too.
Okay.
Paper.
Let me
Well,
make-
that would be good, and then I could call her and introduce myself.
Yeah, let me make sure I got the right one, and then I'll give it to you right now. Yeah,
Just a
563.
second. What is it?
563-243-7751. And the last name is spelled P.F. E.I.
Second.
Oh, okay.
It's P what?
P.F. E.I.F.F.E.R.
Got it. And what's her first name?
Edith.
Very nice lady.
Once you meet her, you'll never forget her.
She sent me an invitation, I said, Jeff told me not to come.
Sure. Did we pay our dues yet?
Yes, we
Okay,
did.
all right, I wanna make
Yes,
sure.
yes, because I got that.
Yes, that went out last.
My hearing aids just dislikes this meeting, it always go down. This This is where they go, now they dig into their bed. This one's not yet filled.
Too much
We on
hot air.
break till 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one thing that went around on the.
Worried about this.
Okay, the recorder's on there.
Okay, Mike.
Okay, I guess we'll start with page 1 here with the budget. Pretty self-explanatory there. The biggest thing I guess I want to point out is you go down to category 7,000 to improvements on about halfway down the page. We are planning to spend $50,700 on improvements this year, and 30,000 of that will go to the house out at the farm, which I believe you guys had the tour the other day. $11,500 will go to the Quonset and Bend site north of the museum. This last year we had a chance to buy 4.4 acres, the Bend site, the Quonset from Jack Frazier, and we paid $60,000, which was a good deal. Jack's been very good. It was a chance for us, probably the last time, to get a chance to expand out there. We desperately need the storage. We're not in the Bend site business, but that had to go along with it. But so we had to pay $10,000 a year for the next 3 years plus interest. And but we do get an income off the Bend site. This year we did rent out all the Bends. We are currently renting out one of the Quonsets for an income, and we'll get a farm another 2.2 acres this year. So that will be a return on our money. So and that's the improvements are down at the bottom of the page. I guess if you have any questions, the thing that I want to point out, basically is like, you guys know you do a budget, 90% of it is what it is, and that's what the rest of it basically is. So if you look at the rent up above at $5,500 there on top, that's mostly our farm income and our hunting lease and such as where most of our income comes from. The other thing I'd like to point out is the 3,100 and 3,200. We do have money, but we can't get at it on certain things. Some of that investments was set up, and it's getting CD money, and I don't know if you new ones are aware of this, but it takes an act of God and your signatures to get at that money, and it was set up at a pretty good interest years ago, and that stuff is coming due, and instead of getting 4, 5, and 6%, we're getting 1%, and that's really taking a toll on us. So is there any questions on the first page?
What was our contribution last year?
It was like $9,000 or $10,000. It was really. Oh no!
You said that with a straight face.
Yeah, this isn't my first rodeo in here. I believe it's $3,000, correct, Jeff? And I've asked for 4 in the past. This year I'm going to ask for it again, or 500. And what I just told you is bills are going up, just like you guys got to do budgets just like I do. A lot of our money is designated to go to certain places for projects, and nobody likes to donate money in memory of paying the light bill. So we do have bills to pay that we have to take out of project money, and so I'd like to have your help there. We are a branch of you guys, and when you guys drive by the place, I hope you take a look in there. When it is open, it's always busy. Sandy does a wonderful job and goes above and beyond the call of duty, and we've got some volunteers in there, but it's getting less and less.
It's amazing what you've done out there in just the last 5 years.
Well, thank you. I myself, I get great satisfaction out of driving by. If you go by at night, you look over and you see the church window with the lights on there lit up there, and there could be kids going to school out there, for one day. So. You can hear the chimes.
It must not have changed from previous years. You always said you were asset rich and dollar poor.
Yeah, 10-cent millionaire. And we are. We have a wonderful, several pieces of wonderful property out there, and a lot of the other historical societies around the state are very jealous of us. And we've been very, very lucky that people have remembered us. And just from your meeting the other day, out there at the farm, created a $1,000 check from somebody in this room. So I'll let you ponder who it was, but just by people liking what we're doing, they'll cut a check and help us out once in a while. So any other questions on the budget? Next, I guess, is the board of directors page. I think we've had one or two retire, and you can go through that. It's basically the same. Then we have committees that they meet. We have top one is the chair in charge of the committee for that. From there we go to the calendar year. And then I guess I'll talk about 2015 goals and a little bit what we've done last year. First off, I don't think you have this page. I don't know if anybody's got 2014 goals, but I'll read it to you real quick. The tin shop and hardware store, which is our new building out there, the final touches were made and on the interior. Plans for educating students is being formatted. We improved the front for handicapped accessibility. We put on a porch with a roof with a ramp to get in there. So that project is completely done. South Bethel Church, we did a lot of interior renovations last year. That was all completed. We insulated the ceiling. We replaced ceiling tile. In addition, the walls were repaired and repainted. Pews were removed, and we installed new carpet. The only thing left to do is some woodwork around the windows that need to be repaired and insulated. Now the church so far has basically been on their own. They've done a wonderful job of raising money, and we kind of throw 50% out. If they raise 50%, we'll help them with the other 50%. And that's what we've done with some of these projects. Bedbug School. It's getting busier out there. The days of for a school visit, for the kids to come out to go to a one-room classroom for the day. A lot of the teachers in the county don't have a lot of money to work with, and this is a very cheap educational day for them to come out with the school bus driver and spend the day and take the tour with Sandy. And when they come out, we usually have the blacksmith on hand, shows them that, and then we're trying to get a tinsmith to go along with that. Blacksmith shop, that was repainted last year. It's been approved for a brick approach to go into that. We're just waiting for that to get done. Fraser Log Cabin, the damaged ceiling boards were replaced. The exterior handrail was installed. A loft ladder was installed, and then we have some furniture that was in the cabin, like a rope bed and the bedclothes that goes with it. So we did get some furniture for that. The museum, the west side of the museum has got some problems. Last year we put in a new exterior door and replaced a couple windows for Sandy to keep her warmer in there. And this year we want to put some locks on the door and replace a couple more windows in there. The new hunting lease was completed. We all know that was a disaster in progress the last couple of years. We've got that taken care of. We have a new tenant out there, and so far I've been very, very impressed with what he is doing out there. In fact, he has actually bought the Burley farm right to the south of us, bought the house, and he wants to be a community man, and we have a 7-year lease with him if everything goes okay. So I've heard nothing but good things out there so far. Bickett Rate Farmhouse, last year was phase 3, I guess. We had septic work, we had a new well and new furnace, 2 furnaces in there, and an air conditioner put in last year. Now this year we're going to work on the plumbing, insulation, and wiring, and whatever whatever speed she can continue. We'll just let her go at her speed. Scholarship program, we give out 5 $1,000 scholarships to Cedar County kids, and if you look around, those are nice scholarships. We're always working on the membership and sustaining members. We're always trying to continue to strive for additional members. We'd love to have your support and be a historical member. It's $25, I believe, but we don't make a lot of money. 15 of that goes to your review, but just for support from you would mean a lot. The review, we focused on the Civil War last year with the 150th anniversary of the war. That finished up, and it finished up this year. You're working on World War One?
Civil War. One more
Civil
time.
War.
Civil War one more year?
Last one.
And then we'll moving on to World War One. Inventory project efforts will continue to finish cataloging our collection. This is a big, long project. We have several girls out there, inventory and everything. So we expect that to last a couple years yet into that project. Sports Wall of Fame. This year we'll be adding a swing panel with a floor stand on it. Instead of hanging up pictures along the wall and dusting them off, it's going to be like your class composite when you go to school, where they can just come up. And class of 2014 was inducted with 4 members and a team. So with that will be nice, easy access for that. Day in the Prairie, which is our big event, that continues to improve each year. And it was our 4th annual one in September. So that was kind of like last year's project. Some of that was right down the list here, maybe, I guess. But a few other things that we did. We moved the sawmill from the racetrack, from the fairgrounds. Sorry. They've been asking us for the last few years to move that. We've got it out there. We hope to have it actually even maybe running someday. It would not take a lot, but that is 95% complete. As I said there earlier, we bought the Jack Frazier bin site, and out at the farm we had Bruce Barnhart come in and cleaned up a lot of trees, a lot of old fence lines, really cleaned the place up to make it look nice for in the future, so when we have people out there. And then last, of course, is the bird tower. But did you actually get in the bird tower? Okay, we had babies there last year. This year we're hoping to add color and sound inside the tower. I haven't looked at the website lately, but I do know as of August, September, or shortly after those birds were born, we had over 7,000 hits watching those birds, and I think that will continue to grow. So that is it in a nutshell here, unless I missed something on the 2015 goals. Well, that was basically it. Sandy also threw in the newsletter that comes out quarterly. I always look forward to this. The gals do a very nice job on this, and pretty interesting. So. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
It almost looks like that path that took it down to the river.
Yeah, you went all the way to the back, I heard, huh? Yeah, that is quite a trip. And you become members, you're welcome to go mushrooming out there, and then you can see the whole thing. And that's kind of fun. I enjoy going out there. The old railroad bed is out there. It's still pretty well intact. You can follow that. John Brown, I'm pretty sure, used that to go back and forth when he was in the area. It's just it's a wonderful piece of property out there. We're very lucky.
Do you anticipate doing any logging? I know it was heavily logged years ago.
To my understanding, when we first got that piece of property, it was logged before.
Yeah.
But there is some out there. We could do some. In fact, the hunting lease people would like to do maybe a little bit of that, or even crop some of the trees out. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And so if they're okay with it, because you mostly have to get back there in the winter to do some of that stuff, and there's some that can be done.
Well, fine. Any more questions for Mike? Any more comments? Sandy, do you have anything to add? Nothing?
I'm learning to keep my mouth shut.
Oh, I must have pretty good. She only corrected me once. So
getting you trained, Mike.
Yeah. Again, you know, I have a passion for the Cedar County history, and this will be my 4th year as president. And I hope you get satisfaction when you go by the place. And look in there, the cars. It's unbelievable, the people that will come in, or even stop and go through the visitor book and see where the people come from. And a lot of days I like to go in just to the office and see what has come across, in as far as a personal collection or something. And Sandy does a nice job of putting stuff out front for people.
I could mention one new exhibit that's going up right now. It's for a Pearl Harbor survivor that just recently died. His name is Michael Elkovics, and he lived in Loudon for several years. And he is a great-grandfather of my 2 oldest grandchildren. Died in Florida. And they thought it would be nice if it was okay with me to do something for him, since he lived in Cedar County. And it's quite a story. He was on the USS St. Louis, which was a light cruiser. They were the first ship that was able to get out of the harbor, which wasn't an easy job at that time. They shot down 3 kamikaze planes while they were getting out. They were the first one out to open sea, which was the aim to go after the carriers that the Japanese planes were coming off of. And he was very proud of his background in the service. The St. Louis went through a lot more during the war, which I'm not going to bore you with. Come out and I'll talk your ears off about it. But he wanted to be buried in Pearl Harbor. They do not allow any burials there, ashes, except for Arizona survivors. So they are going to have a military funeral, a service in June. They will take him out to open sea about a mile out, and the military is doing this ceremony for the family. Sounds like it's going to be pretty cool.
Sandy and Mike, I'm just kind of curious. I noticed on your grants, you haven't applied for very many grants. Are there grants that we can go for, or is it?
We just put somebody new into that project. We've had trouble people writing grants. Now we have received $10,000 grant. I call it the riverboat money, but it's Community Foundation. We have received $10,000 from them. I think we did get 3,000 from them before.
There are some tourism ones too, and I didn't know, being that close to Highway 30, if you would fall under some of those.
We got an economic development grant for the schoolhouse for about $1,500.
That's right. Yeah, we did. We do apply. Sometimes we don't always get it.
No, I mean the competition still. But
yeah, I'll tell you what gets it easier is we work with the Johnson County birdsong people with out there at the farm. They get it way easier than what we get. So a lot of times at the farm we'll try and go through them, give them some matching money if they collect it. So they have actually got some grant money to put towards the farm out there. So they have been helping. So yeah, and we could always do more, but you got to have somebody to do the writing and do this stuff and follow through, and we just don't always have the people to do that. But so we do that. Good question. Good idea.
What's your hours out there? You're open.
Tuesday and Thursday, 10 till 4, and Saturday 10 till 2, or by appointment.
And we have a wonderful military museum that we just put up there that you could spend an hour in there and then go back and see the inventory and see the new edition, and you could easily kill an hour or 2 in there if you so we're interested in that stuff. But
it seems to me like everybody has such a passion out there, that area, which is really neat. A lot of excitement.
Yeah, you do. You know, a lot of it's volunteer, and I mean, right here, we have a lot of years' experience of out there. Wasn't something I really wanted to do right away at my age. It's something I wanted to do when I retired. But Mr. Kaufman, he was very nice in promoting me here, so here I am.
But then you should just retire.
I got 2 more years, so I'm telling them all the time to be looking. So, but no, I have enjoyed it. I am very proud of what we have accomplished out there. And,
The board might be interested in all the other Cedar County groups that also use the facilities to meet out there too.
It's a permanent home for our DAR chapter. We've had all kinds of women's groups come out for meetings, but unfortunately those groups are all disbanding, which really is kind of sad. We had a class reunion held in there last fall, by the end of the summer, which was something new. What else? Who else have we had?
We've had several.
Soldiers Monument uses it. The Pioneer Cemetery Commission uses it for their meeting location.
Wall of Fame.
Wall of Fame, Sports Wall of Fame, which is in the museum, meets there. It's used, of course, for all of our committee meetings and our board meetings, and it's pretty. It should be well known that those kind of groups are able to use the facility. We have a really nice meeting room. Oh, you've been there, Dawn. You know what it's like. So we are an open door.
In the church, we've had several weddings. We also had a funeral.
We revived our Christmas program last December, which will be ongoing now that we have a church to have it in. Worked out very well.
So yeah, and then with the centennial coming up here in Tipton, the 175th, we want to make ourselves available for that. We will be throwing some floats into there, and hopefully be open during that time that people could come out and see that.
Okay, real fine.
All right,
Thank you, Mike.
Thank
for coming
you.
in.
You bet.
I just want to say one thing about the 700, 100 requirement.
Yes.
Okay. That's put on the historic group, and your guys are actually going to be a little bit of an exception to this, because we're probably going to have 2 more classes for you. Going forward on any FEMA buyouts, they got to do a historic preservation study. Now that doesn't mean buildings on the historic preservation register. That means any building 50 years old in the area of a disaster. You have to do a historic preservation study on it, and you're the experts in that. So that's why we're feeding you guys into the system. But I'm going to lean on you guys hard if we do that, especially doing buyouts on farms and stuff like that, because they've got new rules on offset money and all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
And when they come out with the class, and just for the historic preservation group they're talking about, we'll pay for all the classes and try to bring them here, but sometimes I can't bring them here. We can get them like to Iowa City or Cedar Rapids. But we'll let you know plenty of time.
How many would you like to have in that class? I think
We've got 2 on the beginning thing. We have 2, and there's 2 going to take your class next week.
Yeah, I mean, like we had another flood in 2008. We're talking 40, 50 sites that have to be done. That's every farm that's over 50 years old. Every barn that's over 50 years old. Every corn crib over 50 years old.
Wow. You just stay in touch with Sandy, and
yeah,
we'll do
and that's why Jeff called me and says he can do it, and I said, no, you guys need to do it because you're going to be.
Yeah.
That's why we're bringing you on board.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Pioneer Cemetery Commission.
Thank you.
You leaving, John?
Yeah. I got a meeting.
Yeah,
You coming back at 1?
yeah, he said he could get up there.
Oh, I'm good, sir.
He had to leave him.
Take your pick.
You want to just pass those
Hi, I'm
around? Brad, Sandy Harmel.
Sandy, glad to meet you.
She's ornery.
I always like to hassle you.
She's one of those people that if you want to get it done, you ask somebody to do it.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's convenient.
You got to do the budget today.
I don't know if it does.
Yep.
Well, I can pull one of these
Who,
back.
who was the picture, or what?
I don't see anything.
I don't know. I just know
No,
that she
no, I
was
don't, I
nervous
can't
about
take
doing
this.
it, and
Nah,
she
I
goes,
don't-
all I have to do is say
I don't think
aye.
it'll go up.
And I said, well, I
Yeah,
pledge
but
is
you
kind
don't
of
wanna
nice.
take that floor either.
Oh, you got it.
No.
Don't get up there and
Take this,
freeze.
okay.
That's better.
You spend all but $1 here last
Of the,
I don't know, I've got your budget, it's $9,999.
oh, I wonder why. Huh.
I'm missing something here.
That's the 9,999, that's a lot.
Nice even number. What are you talking about?
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank this board for having enough faith to get the Pioneer Cemetery Commission up and running. Without your support, it would not have been possible at all. We're very proud of what has been accomplished so far in just a short time, but also want you folks to remember that we're just taking baby steps and we're learning as we go along. But one thing that's going to help that, I don't know if all of you are aware of an organization that is SAPIC, and that's State of Iowa Cemetery Preservation. Is that it?
Preservation of Iowa Cemeteries.
Yeah, Preservation of Iowa Cemeteries. We are going to become a member, and they have periodic meetings around the state. The next one is in DeWitt in March, and there are several of us that are going to go to that. And I think it's going to be very helpful for helping us get our feet a little bit wetter. We know that we're already making a difference. We've had people talk to us about it and are glad that somebody is finally taking the responsibility for fixing those things that are wrong and have been for a number of years. We have a contractor who did a big job for us and gave us quite a good break on it and is interested in helping us in further cemetery work. So that is really, really good. A member of the commission has even volunteered to keep the maintenance in one of our pioneer cemeteries at no charge. And that's a very good blessing also. We have 3 or 4 cemeteries that are going to be incredibly expensive to renovate. We worked on one of them this last fall, which was one of the worst ones, Wenzel-Aki in Lynn Township, and it was in a jungle. And that has all been cleared out and the waste disposed of. We still need to, we took out all the fence also, and new fence will be put up, and a gate where there wasn't a gate before, so we'll have easier access to do maintenance on it. You'll see that on the 2014-15, which was amended, we have Aqua Tree and Wenzel-Aki. Wenzel-Aki was one of the worst, and the other worst one is Goodale Cemetery, which I believe is in Center Township. Isn't it Center Township?
Stone Mill Road.
Is another family cemetery that we don't even know how many burials are in there. It has several stones, but I don't think there's one that is all in one piece. And there's a lot of brush and small trees growing up in there. So that's all going to have to be cleared out, and then we'll be able to go in and probe to see if we can find more burials. We are estimating that these really bad cemeteries are going to take several years even to finish, and up to or more $30,000 to get them up to snuff. One of them is Sand Hill. I think it's a disgrace.
Where is that?
That's west of me on North Fairgrounds Road.
Oh, okay, right.
It's off the road and kind of up on top of a hill, a little hill. It really is a disgrace how that cemetery has declined, and there are people who are buried there who were pillars in the community, in the county, and it just has to be taken care of. And we are tackling the beginning of that one covered under our 2015-16 budget. It'll have to be done by phase because it's just not only the time involved but the money also. We have 3 new ones on our new budget. See if I can find it. There we go. Goodale Cemetery, Fairview Cemetery, and Sand Hill Cemetery. Fairview Cemetery is in Springfield Township. It is a fairly small cemetery, but it has declined in years also, and somehow, I don't know whether it was vandalism or what, but numerous stones have been broken, laying in heaps, and again, it's just really a shame. Now we have this is a cemetery that has what do you call them, Bill? The
native vegetation.
Yeah, native vegetation, but on the stones.
The bronze stones.
They actually are zinc. They are zinc. They call them white. What is it, Jeff? They call it, the name of it is white because they thought people that would get turned off by calling them zinc, so they call them white something. My memory's going. Over years, they start getting this kind of white powdery look to them, so that's why they call them white. But they are zinc, and they are metal, and there are a lot of them in our county, mostly across the northern corridor. It depends where the salespeople made their big pitches. Clarence Cemetery, the town cemetery, has a lot of them in there. Masonic Cemetery has a lot of them in there. And in Fairview, I know there's one for sure. Oh, there's more than that, isn't there?
There's 4 or 5 of those.
Yeah. So Fairview Cemetery is unique in that way, but it's also unique because it has native flowers that have survived, even though some people have gone in and just completely mowed it off, but they keep coming back. Bill is a board member for the commission. He is considered our naturalist, and Fairview he has tried to take care of for many years. It's kind of a losing battle when there's only one person, but that's going to help now, and tell them some of the flowers that are there.
For one thing, with the Pioneer Cemetery Commission, we have a sense of direction now, rather than someone just going in on their own and going where. And some of these native plants are very, what you would call conservative. If it's ever been plowed, etc., they wouldn't exist anymore. So some of them would be called lead plants, New Jersey cheese, things such as that. And of course, there's the state flower, the wild rose, is in there too.
We all know about Rochester. This cemetery has some flowers that Rochester doesn't have. We would like to keep it a natural preserve, call it a preserve rather than a cemetery, and possibly even open up tours and maybe include Rochester and if we find any others that have some of this native growth. So we're not only wanting to, our prime concern is to fix these cemeteries, but that's not where our desires stop. We really want to share them with people and show what can happen when they're taken care of. And in this case, it's really neat that we have all these native flowers.
Sandy, ultimately in our discussions, one of the things we'd like to have is about 4 or 5 of these natural preserves, kind of like little Rochesters scattered throughout the county, and we could even attract people to come in on a Saturday afternoon and go from cemetery to cemetery and have an actual natural preserve tour. Yes. And we'd have our natural history and the human history combined. Yes.
I think if you remember when we started talking about this, I told you that we would be keeping binders on each cemetery, and I've done an intensive research on the families who are buried there. Clearly not finished yet. It's very time consuming, but
that's part of the history too. That gives it the human factor, and that's what we want to do, and hopefully find stones that are lost in these cemeteries. So our 2015 budget is pretty clear. The county home cemetery will be maintained. Every cemetery that we've worked in, we will now add that to our list of those that we need to make sure that they are maintained, that the grass is cut. There are special plans for cemeteries such as Fairview. It will not be clear cut constantly, but maybe once in the spring, once in the fall, and that's not hurtful.
Are those particular cemeteries that you're talking about having being all natural, are there farms surrounding that you have to worry about spray, or?
We have to worry a little bit about spray, but generally speaking, the plants that are there now have probably been exposed to some of this herbicide spray, and so they'll still. And also, if there's some plants we want to reintroduce, we'll try not to reintroduce plants that are overly aggressive that would spread.
Where's this Fairview Cemetery located at, Bill?
Section 20, Springfield Township, I think.
There used to be a church there. It comes off of
195th Street. It's a dead-end road.
Yeah, okay.
And there's something else about Fairview. If it's wet, it's hard to get to because part of that road is back to the cemetery is dirt.
Yeah.
So if it's raining, we have had a lot of moisture, you get stuck. I know, because I did.
I think that's where, I think Billy Burhoff used to live back in there, didn't he?
Really?
I think so.
Well, there was a house.
Years ago, there's a farm back in there, isn't there?
Yeah, there. Yes.
Get to the cemetery.
Yeah.
That's all been cleared out now.
Oh, yeah,
When the first time I went out there, that place was still there, but it's gone now, for sure. Okay, if you would like us to address the new budget, and you have any questions about it, the county home cemetery, we're still at kind of a standstill until the records can be accessed for the burials there. Dawn, I don't know whether you know this or not.
The HIPAA thing?
Pardon me?
Wasn't it a HIPAA thing that they were taking into?
Yeah. There is another cemetery on that property, and we don't have any idea where it was. Somebody that's really good at that kind of thing, I've even been told that this guy I was talking to, he could look at a piece of property and tell you where a house sat or where there was any kind of activity going on. I don't know whether there's somebody who could just look at it and say, well, there had to have been something here. Whether we'll ever find it, I don't know, but we do want to put up a plaque eventually with every name on it that we can find that we know for sure was buried there. They at least deserve that much.
That was a request of the board to the Pioneer Cemetery Association to do that, but we got to get through the HIPAA. I think we're almost there.
Okay.
Rossi's Fork, we are finished with our maintenance, and the $500 is just, the renovation. The $500 is for the maintenance, the mowing. Centerville is practically done, but what is left to do is waiting on the dirt that we need to put in there, and the expenses for the plaque being mounted again on the boulder is the historical societies. They're going to pay for that. So we just need the trimming, and probably just a couple times of the year with a weed whacker would be enough to do that. Aqua Tree Cemetery, we aren't going to do anything more with it this year, probably, except for the maintenance. There still is a grass mat on it that probably is so thick. We want to mow it off, and then we want to clear that off, and then do some probing to make sure that there aren't any other stones than the two that are there that are down and need to be repaired. There will be more expense for it in the future. Winslow-Aki Cemetery, we need to
do the fence and the gate, and that's included in that $400. Goodale Cemetery, we want to clear the trees and brush out of there so we can continue with different phases for maintaining it and for repairing the stones. And if anybody likes mosquitoes, that is the best place to go in April, May, when we were there.
Just got awful.
They about picked you up and carried you away. It was awful. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Fairview Cemetery, of course, we've already talked about that, and there is a lot of monument repair, a lot of stones that need to be repaired in there. And Sandhill Cemetery, we want to start getting a handle on it. I'd be glad to take anybody out there to see it with me, just to show you just how bad it is. It is just so sad.
Where is Goodale Cemetery again?
It's on Marty Moylan's 160 on Stone Mill Road.
Yeah.
We had a heck of a time finding it, but once we found it, it was obvious, of course, that that's where it was. I have also included in this tiny packet that I gave you a list of our directors, including their address and contact information and their term expiration date. We had 3 that were up because when we started last year, we had 1, 2, and 3 years. So those that just had 1 year have all 3 enthusiastically agreed to stay on. So we have a variety of people on this commission, and I want to tell you, it is the best group of people I have ever worked with. They are fantastic. We are not all exactly alike. We have our differences, but not so we can't agree on something and do what's best for the cemetery and not have all this personal stuff come into it. We are a good group. Bill is one of our directors. Of course, so is Jeff. But we have a variety of people that have different expertise also. So we have a really, really good commission. Any questions?
Well, I'm glad to see this going forward, because before we didn't have anything.
That's right. Exactly. That's exactly. And we have agreed to continue being aggressive with this.
Appreciate that.
Because there's just so much to be done. I wish that we had more time and more money and weren't getting old and over the hill energy. Yeah.
Well, I think when we get done with the second 6 months, I think we'll meet that in-kind and donation match. So for the 10,000 we put in, the taxpayers put in, I think we'll get 10,000 out. And we will get those first 50 911 signs in there before July 1st. Because I'm reading Tim's face, and I know that was going to be his question.
Yeah, what you see on here that didn't get done is definitely going to be finished before our year is over.
And we'll plan a field trip for everybody. We want to get just a few more of these done. We'll plan a field trip to go out and see some of our natural
I apologize for not having pictures. I wanted to bring pictures of the work that was done at Wenzel-Aki, because last year I showed you how bad it was, and there is such a difference. And unfortunately, my computer at the museum went down, our internet went down yesterday, and mine at home went down yesterday. Last night.
Dramatic personality.
It was down here too.
What's it really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, mine is
all over town, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, well, is it okay now? Because mine isn't at the museum.
Mine was back up yesterday.
Mine was okay last night at home.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, I'm getting a little tired of, if I can put a personal opinion, Windstream sucks.
How about MediaCom?
Amen.
MediaCom, I haven't heard anything good about it either. So, any questions from any of you?
Keep up the good work.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna drive out there and see that.
Have you checked into
And I
like
think, Sandy, if you
conservation?
didn't know,
Have you
I
checked
told
into
Jeff
like conservation grants?
Your
Conservation
911
grants?
signs will be very unique.
I can
compared to
talk
anyone
to
else.
Sarah
Oh,
Subert
cool.
down at the
Oh,
Conservation
that's
Department,
great.
and
I think
she
I
would
The what?
steer us
The
maybe.
911 signs?
Yeah.
I think you'd be surprised at
That's
how
what he
many,
was
I don't
doing
want to say
about
oddball
911
grants are out there, but there
Oh,
are
yeah.
some
Yeah.
for that kind
See,
of thing.
I belong to the Iowa Native Plant Society, and they have grants available for some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did want to mention that, and I didn't, about the associate member that we can have on our commission. And those people are just as how it sounds, that we want advice from them. He has talked to Sarah Schubert, and I think that she is going to become an associate. Associate members do not vote, but we have to have people like that to use their knowledge. And they then can reach out to people that they know, because we need to start building a bigger volunteer base to go out and do younger people. We have a 33, isn't that what he said?
33-year-old
Pete?
Marine.
Yeah, 33-year-old Marine, yeah. And he knows people. So I think we can get them in too. Get those good-looking young men to work, yeah. Okay, anything else? Well, thank you again for your...
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you again for your faith in what we're trying to do, and we are going to do everything we can to prove that your faith is warranted. Thank you very much.
Bob Record was just in here to support them, or what? Must have been. Okay,
Just FYI, I've got all these applications. You asked the Pioneer Cemetery to give you recommendations. We'll have those on Tuesday for that $4,000 veteran. We'll have recommendations for everybody on Tuesday.
Okay.
Do I need something on the agenda?
Probably should. Maybe 15 minutes. Because Tuesday. Thursday night, not Tuesday.
Recommendations for...
Veterans Fund, Veterans Graves Fund.
Go drink some coffee.
And it'll be me probably that brings them in, so whatever.
Okay. Is there no mail?
I don't know.
Well, we can get that.
Been kind of busy.
Wasn't twice, I checked twice and there wasn't, but I can check.
Check again, see if there's any mail, otherwise we're gonna go to dinner. I have, down in the basement, I had a sack of like a bag, but it says Wilson tankage on it. Did they want that out there at that museum, or you want me to take it up to Cedar Rapids?
Was it,
Way back when Wilson and Company was making tankage.
Here in
Cedar Rapids. No, in Cedar Rapids.
Oh, in Cedar Rapids. Probably in Cedar Rapids, just simply because they're just running out of space.
Yeah.
How's my table out there?
We used it for firewood.
Oh, that was worth about $2,500.
I got those signposts. I bought
your
last time when I ran for election, I put out the country, the ones that they use for the seed corn things, they got holes in them and everything.
Of what year?
I got 50 of them. I offered it to the fair board out there, and they never came pick them up.
I wonder if those can be, let me ask Tim if we can use those for 911 signs. They work for 911. They work for 911 signs. That'd be perfect.
But yet, they're out in the Brad's machine shed right now.
I can't find
But there's 50 of them, and I'm not gonna use them again.
Well, let's
They're
ask
out there
Tim.
at my place? Yep.
Okay, can you write that down?
They're white?
Yeah.
White and green.
Ask Tim.
What's that?
Tim, is there a special post for the 911 signs? Or can a guy use any post for this?
No, there's a special post. It's all fit to a 911 sign.
Well, I guess I got some of those posts that, they had for like seed corn companies put up, along the fence. They got holes in them and everything.
Well, they can look at them if they got the holes, but our holes are lined up perfectly with the sign.
But the thing of it is, they're like 7 foot tall. I mean, would that be any problem of having them higher?
No, he can drill into the ground.
No, the Marine's gonna do that.
Oh no, I'm telling Jeff's got to do it. They got to be in the ground, so it's only 4 foot up.
Can you bring one? So
They're
we can
usually
look at
6.
it on
Yeah, if you
Thursday?
bring one, I'll look at it.
Mileage for that, but I'll speak to that.
They're right around,
Yeah,
going in
7
your door,
miles out
right
there.
to the right there, Brad. Right to the right of the machine shed out there. Your first
Well, I
machine shed.
guess I didn't
Where are
know
they
that.
at?
Out of Brad's machine shed.
No.
But I offered them to the fair board, and they never came, picked them up or anything.
Well, they don't come. You know what? We made up all these.
Probably, I don't know what else it would be.
We made up all these signs because they were going to come right away, and we've had them sitting there for months, maybe almost a year now.
But they have to be at 4 foot?
Yeah, there's on the sign, but you can drive them in the ground. They gotta flag them all, call 811, they gotta do the whole thing.
These you'd have to cut these posts off if you were gonna drive them down to 4 foot.
Why, if there's 7, that's only 3. We do 6 usually. So they're stable.
Yeah.
We'll bring one in so Jim can
I'll
look
bring
at
it
it.
in.
That'd be.
That's fine.
There's some
Signs
white
not
ones,
line up and mount.
Some white and some green.
Who
Yeah,
cares?
That'd be savings for us.
Yeah, they're $9 a piece for me now.
Yeah.
For the post?
Yep, and the posts are at $9 a piece.
You can have all 50 of them, right, Jeff, if you want for the cemetery.
Yeah, well, that's how many signs we gotta put up.
50?
To start with.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, because we agreed with Tim that we'll eventually do all the cemeteries.
Yeah.
Or at least drop them off at the.
If they work, you can have them, because Fair Board never kept them up.
Pioneer Cemetery can have them, I don't want them.
We just wanna make sure they're okay though.
Yeah, that's
So you
fine.
guys get
As long as the signs line up and they're stable, that's fine. We don't wanna put something up there that's gonna be gone in 3
Oh, they're
years.
pretty good posts.
Oh, yeah.
Are they?
They're heavier
The
than
high
steel.
grade?
They're heavier than the regular steel post.
But that's what we buy. We buy the heavy grade.
I'll bring one in.
They're
Hang
U-shaped.
it.
And we had the, and that's, they were a channel, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what we use. Because
Yeah,
we
no
had
problem.
signs specially made.
Yeah, that's.
And what we did, so the board knows exactly what we did, is in our ordinance, the color scheme says blue is private, green is public,
Yeah.
right? And because of the Iowa code, for some of the
You don't know.
cemeteries that are on private property that you have to give an easement to get to, all the cemetery signs are half blue, half green.
That's all right. Okay, anything else before we break for lunch?
1 o'clock.
Be back at 1 o'clock.
49.
We're on lunch break.